Yo. Hello, everybody, and welcome to Heelanhammer. On today's show, we have interviews with players from a recent English scene event in Cardiff. We talk Skaven Assassin kit, painting with olive oil, dark elves, all this and more on today's Heelanhammer.
Coming to you live from Portsmouth, this is the Heelanhammer Network News.
Okay, Dark Elves. We mentioned them briefly on the last show. The Dark Elves are out now, and I imagine if you listen to a Warhammer podcast, you cannot help but stumble over it. I noticed literally a week after, not even a week, a few days, I think, after the new White Dwarf had been out, their shows were out there already. You've probably heard plenty of them reviewing the entire book and things. We're not going to do that. As always, we like to review the books with an expert, or somebody at least knows something about Dark Elves.
At least two games.
At least, yeah, and have a position where we've all played against them, or we're playing with and against them. So that is going to be the plan, as always. So, Wayne, the release is out. What's your first general impressions?
On the whole, stunning, I think is the best word. I don't like all of it, but 90% of it is awesome. Absolutely brilliant. Yeah, the process of making plastic models now is it's so polished. I bet there's no mould lines on them either.
No, they're probably all hidden in the in various different places. They do tend to do that now quite well, don't they?
Yeah.
So no, I'm with you. I think it's probably one of the best releases they've done. I've never been a massive Dark Elf fan. I've always wanted to play them because they look like a really good fun army to play for
filthy,
my kind of play style. You know,
yeah, filthy.
Yeah, avoid, shoot, magic. You know, sort of fly around for a bit. Ooh.
Wreck hobby.
Yeah, that kind of stuff. And I think there's still a bit that can be done with this book, to be honest, and I've seriously looked at it. But so yeah, great stuff. I mean, what's your favourite model out of the releases? I mean, we've got. Let me just run them down for anybody who's not been in the I don't know, anywhere on the internet. You wouldn't have seen it, but you've got Dread Spears, which is a plastic repeater crossbow, and spears, and I think swords as well. You can equip them with plastic kit. You've got a Cauldron of Blood, which can be kitted out as a blood rack shrine or a cauldron itself. We've got Witch Elves. We've got Skirmishing Witch Elves, Sisters of Slaughter, that's their real name. We've got the Dread Spears, as we've already said. We've got the War Hydra. Wayne's a big fan of that model, and we'll talk about that in a minute. And we've got the Cahedrus. There's people now just, as usual, shouting at me, but hey, you should know the deal by now. I can never pronounce anything. We've got a new Shadowblade Assassin special character, which is very, very beautiful. A lot of love for that on the internet. And then there's a rumoured, it's not official, but people have seen the pictures. There's a second release, presumably, which includes Dark Riders and a Warlock kit, and a new Chariot, I believe, isn't it, that's coming out?
Yeah, have you seen the pictures for the new Chariot?
Yeah. Interesting. What do you think?
Don't like it.
No, some of it is a bit compared to
wheel inside the chassis.
Yeah,
not
dodgy elven engineering.
It's like the Dyson of chariots. It's the rollerball.
You can just see that one ball. Yeah,
gets into the corners. You can't hide anymore because it'll get you.
That's why no one's got one. They painted and did the design as it came
out.
Like
I think they kind of designed the chassis and they went, yeah, we ain't getting on the base. Right, Will's going to have to go in the middle.
Sorry, lads, we've done it. But overall, I'm with you with this. I think the release on the models has been fantastic. The rules, interesting. The internet certainly has been an interesting read over this week and a half. There's been some real rage. I mean, the book actually was fairly not leaked, but I'd say it was the earliest one we've had over a while. I certainly had a PDF in my inbox quite early this time round. So, as always, appreciate the heads up from the people that supply those. That's always good for us as Warhammer Media.
Got one too.
We don't.
Thanks to the person that sent it to me.
Yeah, we don't share them with anybody when we do get them, so they do stay hidden. But they're good for us from a media perspective. Gives us a good chance to have a good look at them. And yeah, the book seems good, Wayne. I mean, what do you think?
I feel a bit sorry for high elf players, to be honest.
Really? It's all right, because high elf players are totally cool with this. I've not seen any rage at all.
No, they would be, wouldn't they? Because they used to always play second fiddle to Dark Elves anyway.
Yeah. I have seen a beautiful, have you seen it on Twitter? There was a beautiful someone did a drawing and it was like high elf, dark elf.
Or the stickmen.
Yeah, the stickmen, and it's like signature spell, high elf man, and he's like casting a spell, stickman, casting it, 2d6 strength 4, and then it's like got dark elf, 2d6 strength 5, and this massive like big explosion with like, seriously, WTF on it, and it goes down. It's quite good. I've seen that one before. I think it's an old one that someone's rehashed out. But yeah, sorry, you were saying.
Yeah, I just think they just do everything. Well, not everything better than high elves, but it's kind of weird that the background shows that dark elves are always trying to invade Ulthran, or however you pronounce that, and and they always get repelled because, high elves are just more organised and they're just slightly better at everything else.
But that's because they used to strike first. now they can strike first as well.
Yeah, Dark Elves now just gone, oh, blow me.
Yeah. They're pretty quick, aren't they?
Never knew I could do that. I suddenly got really quick. Yeah. Ooh, and hatred.
I can re-roll all the ones there. I've slipped. No, not me.
But it's obviously when Games Workshop, when they put the high elf book out, they've gone, do you know what? There's not that many people play this. We won't make it that good. But the Dark Elves, loads of people play Dark Elves, so we'll make that better.
I think, conspiracy theories aside, there's been a lot of ranting on the internet about this in the week. And I think there's a few points here. The first one is, I think it's far, far too early to be shouting broken. I think that they will be like the High Elves in a lot of ways, which is that now you've got more expensive troops, albeit they're very good troops. There still be limited model count. There's still toughness 3 elves.
I've seen some lists on the net, and there ain't many models in the army.
No, not at all. You think about it, you're like, oh yeah, I'm going to get all this in, and then you put it together, and you're like, I haven't got a lot, and it's quite fragile. Still, the fast cav units, particularly the Warlocks, which is a new unit. They're a level 2
toughness 3 with no armor.
Exactly, they're a level 2 wizard that knows some really good spells, but how long are you going to have them? That's the question.
Yep.
There's a lot of stuff like that, and with the pendant going, okay, the magic items in the book are particularly good for 8th edition magic items, but I'm actually. That's good for 8th edition, I think, because we've had a few books where basically you won't bother. I know there's an imbalance, that's the only problem, and I can understand people's comments saying, although I find it funny that High Elf players sitting on a banner of the World Dragon in the Book of Hoeth are moaning about Dark Elf magic items, but still. But yeah, the comparison between the two books is obviously going to be made, but I do think it's a little bit early to be shouting about broken. They do look pretty solid, though. And obviously always strike first and reroll ones, making quite reliable. And I just hope they carry that on with all the elves. I always think the elves wanted to be that kind of razor force, and in 8th edition it's probably, from a gamer's designer perspective, quite a hard thing to balance, isn't it? Because you've got this problem that you are a toughness 3 elf. It doesn't matter what else you do, if everyone can keep hitting you back, you're going to die, so you've got to make them pretty killy. So on that front, I think it was probably a good decision, and I actually think it looks reasonably well pointed. It's very easy to look at it and go, "Oh my god, they got this, this, and this," but I don't know. I'm not convinced.
I think it's quite fun that a lot of people are sort of banging on about witch elves, and you're going to see these big blocks of witch elves in every army. Well, not every army, but a lot of armies. And then, depending on how people change their lists, obviously to adapt with the current meta, I wonder how long it's going to last before people go, well, witch elves are rubbish.
I don't even think it's going to start that way. Honestly,
they get killed so easy.
Yeah, I look at it and I think I wouldn't even bother. There's better stuff, and that's it. But internal balance looks good.
Most of the lists I've seen on the internet look like they were taken out of the previous book.
Yeah.
They just look like the previous, different stuff from the previous book.
I actually think, though, the internal balance looks reasonable, whether that ends up being the case or not. But I think there's a lot of options you could do with it. So I'm looking forward to seeing what people come up with. And again, let's hope it changes the meta from this all-seeing, monstrous cav warriors type back to some infantry. Whether it does, I'm not sure, but yeah, it'd be interesting to see. But I really think the internet guys that are just raging about it should just calm down. It's not the end of the world. The sky is not falling. We've just seen this new book. But yeah, it's certainly been fun to be reading the internet and having a good chuckle. But I honestly can't see them being super broke. Now, I might be proven wrong. They might suddenly be all top 10, but I don't think they're on the same level as something like Warriors for that real tournament winning thing, but they are going to be good. I don't think there's any massive doubt about that. But I still think High Elves are a lot better than people make them seem. I just don't think anybody's really spent the time and really playing all the different builds there. Yeah. I've certainly got one in mind that I quite like the look of, with a small, a medium-sized bus with some prints with ogre blades and all the rest of it. I think they could be quite good against in the current meta.
Yeah.
But you just don't see them, or very rarely. I mean, I know you played. Mike, Posh Mike, #Posh Mike, played at Blood and Glory a Star Dragon and all the bits. But I'm not talking Star Dragon. I'm talking, a decently worked out balance.
Didn't I, with the Banner of the World Dragon, 4 or 5 characters in one had the ogre blade. And.
But see, that might even be too much. I'm just thinking.
That was massive, I
think you can do a good balance on it. I don't know. Maybe I should just get an army out and see what I can do before, because there must be High Elf generals going, oh yeah, well, it's easy to say.
Well, I don't think Simon's going to be using his anymore because he's doing Dark Elves.
Tap him up. Say, Si, sort us out, I'll borrow it.
Last Thursday, it was quite funny actually. Right? He had his sort of last game with his High Elves. He's got them all on the table. Right? He's played the game. I think he lost. Right, I might be wrong, but I'm pretty sure he lost the game. Right, so his opponent. Well, it was Dan Thomas, right? He's playing Warriors.
He's been on the show before, Dr. Dan, yeah.
So he's playing Warriors, and that was it. Simon did get beat. And so he's packed all his stuff away, everything's that. And then I looked around and Simon's sitting there. He hadn't packed any of his models away, and he's sitting there reading the Dark Elf book.
Awesome. Yeah, I see him there. I was like, no, because we can't call him Simon a Hoeth anymore. I have to be Simon a Kane or something like that, wouldn't he?
Simon of Nagaroth.
Yeah, Simon of Nagaroth. He is the Shadow. Is the Shadow King the one that turned from being a high elf to a dark elf? It'd be whoever that is. So, Wayne, what's your favourite? Moving away from the internet rage, what's your favourite unit from a look perspective? First off, and why?
I really like Spearmen.
Mm.
You know, they remind me of the old metals. Lot sleeker, but the actual kind of the styling on them reminds me of the old Spearmen, the metal ones.
Yeah, I think I agree with you. I think I'm down with the Dread Spears as well. I think they're probably the best looking model in the range. The Witch Elves, they're all right. I'd have to see them up close to see how cool they would be, and maybe with some decent basing and rocks, and because there's quite a lot of movement in them, isn't there? I'm not sure they look right on a 20mm base, just sort of standing there.
I must admit, I'm not keen on a lot of the poses, even though the sculpts are really, really nice. They're very, very sort of polished models and look great, but the posing on them's a bit. Yeah, I don't know. They just look like they're. I don't know. I know they're frenzied, but they look, Would you be prancing around they're almost like they're stolen on war dancers? Yeah, they got war dancers,
Vanilla Ice,
like they're flipping around, and there's one of them that looks like
ice baby.
You can't touch this. He's running on the spot,
spinning around. Yeah.
So I don't really get the kind of the war dancer poses. So I don't really get the whole. Is there like a dance of death rule? So that's what it looks like.
But again, you'll see a lot
of lovely models. I just don't get some of the posing, that's all.
No. But yeah, I'm with you. I think the release looks great. I think the artwork on the front of the book is one of the best we've seen this edition, the 8th edition books. The book itself looked pretty cool. I haven't read the fluff yet, obviously. But again, the pictures and the artwork look great, as it did with the Lizard release, really. So that's good. The other thing for me, what about rules? What do you like in terms of rules? Is there any one unit that stands out, or you think, that's going to be broken?
The Warlocks are good.
Exactly my unit as well. I think they're cool. I don't think they're going to be that crazy, but you look at them on paper, you're like, oh my god, you can doom bolt things on a level 2. But
we'll see.
We'll see.
There's a lot of things that seem good on paper, don't they? That don't quite work out, but they do look good.
Yeah, I quite like those. Even the monsters don't look too bad. I just wish they. I was talking to was it Jack Armstrong? I think it was. I've spoken to a few Warhammer people this week. I think it was Jack Armstrong, who listeners may or may not know is a super duper the Lizardman player, one of the best players in the UK, and he was like, I just wish the same person had wrote the monsters together. You compare them and it just makes no sense. And obviously Lizards would have really benefited for some really good monsters. So but the rules look fairly balanced for the points on the monsters. I think people will use them, which is good. That might be the first book for a while where people actually the monsters get a look out. You think about war sphinxes, you don't see many of those anymore, do you, really? No. You don't see many of those. You don't see many Stegodons, although I think they're slowly creep back in all the time the meta's this way. You just don't see that many. How many slaughter brutes do you see in a warrior's army?
I don't think I've ever seen one.
Or a Weetabix.
I've never even seen one at a club game.
No, exactly. So
I've seen a Vortex Beast that was converted to use as
a chimera.
Else.
It was a chimera. There's you don't see many. So no, that's a really good thing. So I think the release as a whole was good, and I think there's a few good items as well, which helps. The lore looks really strong in terms of the magic lore in the book, and you've got quite a bit of good choice internal balance wise. Initially, that appears to be the way that's going to go.
What's the one model you don't like?
In terms of the looks,
yeah.
Ooh, because see, we haven't even mentioned how good the cauldron is, how good Medusa type blood rack thing looks. So.
Yeah, that is amazing. It's a stunning model. It is absolutely stunning model.
Yeah, So I mean, the cauldron and all that's fantastic. But in terms of bad models, there's stuff that I think none of them are bad models. I think it's just there's obviously some things that you like more than other things.
Yeah.
For example, the Witch Elves and the Sisters. I'm not a massive fan of the whole dynamic posing. It looks a bit like, do you know the Pussycat Dolls when they do that Jai Ho video? And they look a bit like that. Jai Ho. Yeah. Thing. I won't sing it. Good, but I won't.
You just did.
Okay, it counts. So some of them look a bit odd, and I'm going to be really controversial here. I don't really like the Assassin. So many people are loving that Shadowblade model. I just don't like that whole. Maybe it's the dynamic poses. I'm not a massive fan of them. I like them to look cool, like they're just standing there looking.
Isn't Shadowblade supposed to be so discreet, no one ever knows he's there? Yeah, he's doing this like big epic, like here I am
Batman.
I have the biggest cape in the world,
Yeah.
and when I'm on the floor, I trip over it.
Yeah. You couldn't see me.
If he was just standing there with that cloak, it would be like everywhere.
Do you reckon he's like one of those? He's like the comedian of the Dark Elf Army. Everyone's like, "Oh, here he comes," and he's like, "I am Shadowblade. You cannot see me," and they're like, "No, we can't see you. You're really good. Go over there, kill those dudes." I don't know. Just but so many people will disagree with me. I've seen it all over Twitter. The love for that model. Loads of people like it. But like Snitch, Deathmaster Snitch, I love that model. I think it's fantastic.
Snitch, I know I love Skaven, but I think Snitch is way better than Shadowblade.
Yeah.
Way better.
But a lot of people like him. So again, it's just personal dislike. But he's not a bad model, is he? It's just I'm not a massive fan, as I'm saying, of the kind of super dynamic poses that's little, mid-action ones. But no, overall, I couldn't. There's not like a real model that I look at and think, oh my god. What about you? You're gonna put the Hydra, aren't you?
Do you know what? Most of the Hydra I actually like. I think it's quite a cool model. And the Cahedrus, if that's how you pronounce it.
Yeah.
The heads on that are really nice. What I don't get, and I bet loads of people have spoken about this, and I've actually mentioned it before, is there's scales that look like teeth. Yeah, but they're not teeth because they've got these very small razor teeth.
Yeah.
But Workshop have actually painted them like lighter to make them look like these massive, great big molars. So it looks like every head's got this set of false teeth in.
Yeah.
And it just looks really bad.
It's like
it looks really awful.
If you look at the front of the latest White Dwarf, there's this one particular head that reminds me of that guy from on Sesame Street that comes out the bin and just starts talking.
Grouch.
Yeah, he just looks a little bit like him. I just imagine him with big fluffy hair on.
Yeah,
it's like, hello. This was brought to you by the number 6 or whatever, whatever the accent is. But still, I've seen a couple of those on Twitter built, and they look quite nice, those models. So
yeah, I think I just don't get why they've done the paint job. Makes it look like they're big white teeth, or because they've done them in a different coloured scale. It doesn't make any sense. It makes you think. It actually makes it look bad. But maybe when you actually see the model, it isn't anywhere near as bad. It's actually really good.
It's because they've used some sort of like purple wash in between all the scales that really pops them on the photo. And I think most people will probably just dry brush that up, and you won't see the definition as much. So it'll probably look much better. So, I even now I quite like that model. All in all,
that would look really cool with.
Yeah.
And if I did Dark Elves, if I did Dark Elves, and they worked right. I've actually got 2 Hydras, 2 of the metal Hydras. If you took the Hydra heads and actually replaced them
with the old ones on the new one,
you put the old heads on the new Hydra.
Yeah, I like it.
Look. That's a very expensive conversion, but
that's stupid.
But it's never stopped me before.
No. If you've got all these old models lying around, this idea was brought to you by Wayne Kemp. So yeah, exactly. But yeah, overall, I think that's a big Heelanhammer thumbs up to the Dark Elf release. We both liked it, and I'm looking forward to playing against it and just seeing how it goes, and we can report back on our thoughts of if the internet is right or whether it is in fact just pretty good. Oi, geese. Oi, oi.
Hello, sweetheart. Show us your tips.
Okay, Wayne, show us your tips. You used a little trick I used. Now, anybody, and I got this from Twitter, so this isn't me. Well, this particular tip came from the listener base. I got it several times on Twitter. What happened was, many of you have seen this before, probably. Spray varnish. I'd finished painting some models, took some spray varnish outside. It was fairly damp outside, and I just sprayed the whole lot. Went crazy on it. Brought it in. Hour later, the whole thing...
This is matte varnish we're talking about.
Yeah, matte varnish. Hour later, the whole thing is like a milky white, ghosted colour.
Yeah.
That's the best way to describe it. And you did it recently as well, did you not, Wayne?
Army Painter Anti-Shine. Never, ever use that stuff. It's rubbish.
Yeah.
Right? Just in case anyone didn't understand what I was saying. Never, ever use Army Painter Anti-Shine.
No, it didn't go well for you, did it?
It is the devil.
I was using Tester's Dull Coat, which I've had this issue with before, actually. And a lot of people tell me it's simple science. I'm a bit simple, so I probably need the simple science. But apparently it's to do with the moisture in the air. If you do it in a bit more of a moistureless environment, it's better. And having read certain things on car body shops and forums, I think when I was searching for an answer, it does appear to be something to do with moisture. So anyway, I was thinking...
Apart from Anti-Shine, because I did it in perfect... I've been spraying for years and years and years, so I know what I'm doing. I know what I'm doing with spray cans, right? And I know the atmospheric conditions and all that, blah blah blah, right? I was spraying it in perfect conditions, and it's rubbish. I don't know what they put in it, but it just kills metal. It just makes metal go like you painted it grey.
If anybody from Army Painters is listening and has a comment on that, please send us an email.
I
and it's a free can, we'll test it for you.
Flames of War sprays and the general Army painting sprays, right, I get on great with. I think they're really, really good, right? And I've used them loads. I think they're fantastic. Some are better than others, but in general, they're really, really good product. But the anti-shine, they need to change the formula on it because it's just terrible.
Yeah. Yeah, I suppose if the answer to stopping things shine is to spray them grey, then we probably don't need it.
It's just like, I don't know what the matte, the actual matte varnish in it, but it's because it does say on there, you give it's on the instructions, it says give it several light coats, right? But when we're talking light, we're talking, you have to go so far back that you're hardly touching the model, and that's how you do it. If you get slightly too close, it's mullered.
Yeah,
it.
Which is odd because Tester's Dull Coat, I mean, they changed the recipe of Tester's Dull Coat, but the old stuff, you could just unload half a can in a model and it would make any difference to it. But recently, this newish formula is a little bit the same. It seems to be a lot harder to do. So, But there is an answer, and the Twitter came to my rescue as always. I know we've always bang on about Twitter, but it is a fantastic piece of kit when you need an answer and you need it now. So I tweeted, "What's the deal?" A few people said, "Paint olive oil on it," and I thought that's just insane. Where does that come from? Should I paint ketchup on it next? It's like who discovered that? So I thought I'll give it a go. So I mean, I sort of mixed water with the olive oil, but
why would you do that? It separates.
Exactly, that's what someone said. So I don't know. It was just in my head. I did one with, because I had several to do.
Like hoovering spiders.
Yeah, we'll come to that a bit later. But I decided to just paint a bit of a mix, which is pointless. And one of them I did with just the olive oil, and then just left overnight. Come back. It had solved the problem.
Yeah,
it really
exactly
had.
what I did.
Yeah,
because you told me about it, and I was just like, really? I thought it was a wind up.
Paint some ketchup on it. Yeah.
So I tried it, and it is brilliant. It works, and it solved all the problem.
The only thing it does give you, which me and Wayne and I were discussing, was that it does leave a bit of a shine on, doesn't it? But there must be a way to get rid of the oil.
But, I'd imagine the sort of bit of sort of washing up liquid, very small amount, mix it up, and then just go over.
I was thinking that washing up liquid.
I'm glad I only did the 2 models as a test and not 40, because if I'd done a whole block of a whole block of Stormer and sprayed them, I mean literally that's a whole can of anti-spray that it's going in the bin. I'm never using that again.
And then it's just...
I've had problems with it before when I did dipped. I did a dipped lizard army, and it just awful. It actually changes the colour.
It does. I've still got my corpse carts the same. I used my corpse cart once in 7th edition, never used it again, but my corpse cart's the same. It's like completely white. It's odd, isn't it? It literally puts a white, grey, like an ethereal type effect on it.
Yeah, on top of it, and it's horrible stuff.
Yeah, but there you go. It sounds really bizarre, but it works. So there you go. Your tip for this week.
This is the War Room.
Okay, so the War Room this week is going to be taking a question from a listener about Skaven, and being Skaven players ourselves, I'm sure we can help answer it. And it was a question about the double assassin list. A lot of people have seen that with the sort of the meta change into a bit more the need to be able to deal with big Death Stars, like the Ogres, I suppose, were the first list to really start it. Yeah. Big multiple character Death Stars that just don't go away, and you can't template to death as quick as you can with an infantry list. And then your Skull Crushers and all the rest of it, people had started to take 2 assassins. And anybody who's played them will see that they're actually pretty nasty in combination. So somebody asked and said, what is the best kit? Now, you can find a lot of lists over the internet. If you just type in the ETC lists from 2012, there were some great examples of some kit on there. And there's also been a lot of UK tournaments which have them. I actually think the Bad Dice podcast, if you put, I think it's www.baddice.co.uk/lists, I think it is. And I think he has quite a few lists from old events kicking around on there. It's worth checking them out. But generally, the thing to look at is, I think, the sort of combos you see a lot is Sword of Anti-Heroes, which is the one that gets better per character in base contact.
Yep.
And the other Trickster Shard, which is the reroll ward saves, makes a mess of certain Death Stars like the Ogre ones.
Yep.
And then the other one is the for pot strength and Weeping Blades. Pretty easy.
Yeah, I mean that's the standard one, isn't it? Potion strength Weeping Blades, which is not it is an awesome combo. I've used that, and it does do what it says on the tin.
Yeah, I mean, there's a few. I mean, you can do some quirky ones, but I think they're the two standout choices, aren't they? Is that those items are on the characters? I mean, you can give them a tail weapon and things, but it's not affected by anything really. But it's just another attack if you're fighting something low infantry. I think you've just got to be very careful about when you decide to reveal them, haven't you? It's very important where they place.
I've never understood why Skaven assassins don't get kill and blow.
No, that is a bit bizarre.
It's just
they used to have Weeping Blades as default as well, didn't they? Back in fifth edition.
Yeah.
I remember killing a Chaos Lord on a dragon on the first turn of a tournament, and my opponent not being happy when he charged in. I just got one cheeky wound through before re-rolls or anything like that. They used to have and killed him. So, always strike first, and all the rest of it is pretty good. So, a very expensive combo for two of those, but we'll catch people out when they start ruining people.
Yeah. I mean, I suppose the sneaky list where you just have one, and then people look at the rest of your army and think, he hasn't got an assassin. He hasn't got the double assassin because he's looking at the points that you spent on other stuff.
Yeah.
So you've got that surprise element of just having the one. But I think the meta's changing because I'm doing another Skaven army at the moment. So people sort of probably follow me on Twitter, and I'm doing a Clan Scryer army because I just think where the meta of the game is changing now. I'm kind of looking at the book in a whole new light, and I'm writing lists, and it's great. It almost feels like I've got a brand new book, because I'm just looking at it completely differently. It's quite exciting actually, because a lot of the stuff, the Skaven have got such a good book where you've got so many different things, a bit like the Orcs and Goblins, where you can adapt it. When the game changes, you can kind of, to a certain extent, you can move with it, and still keep it fun to use, without going to sort of the dull, what I'd call the dull list, with the bell and
this
static army.
This double assassin often gets used with the bell list, but you don't have to. I've seen it also used. We saw it at the South Coast GT, didn't we? I can't remember. I think he had two assassins, and that was just a horde of storm vermin with all the toys in. I've seen it used in various different stages. But yeah, the toys are in that army somewhere, but you have to play it a bit more clever, should we say, than the bell list. I mean, I used the bell list and it was awesome, but it takes, I think,
it's
a bit
very
more
safe,
skill.
isn't it?
Yeah. I mean,
to a certain extent,
that was the best thing about it. This kind of list we're talking about, where it's a bit more combat orientated, obviously uses, or if you're using what we were talking about off air, which is MSU, multiple small unit, Skyra army with Giselles and Globadiers and Warp Fire Throwers and things like that, still potentially nasty, but nowhere near as reliable or safe as the Bell list was in that current environment. Bell list now, I think, really struggles in a lot of the matchups. So I could just see myself playing a tournament now. I mean, you're about to hear about Tribute. Go in there with a bell list, probably not a great idea. You with all the warriors and demons and things that are around. It's just you haven't got the tools to answer it, but you have got the tools in the book. But you're gonna have to do something different. So you look at Censer Bearers.
Remember ages ago when I went to Slaughter and I had that practice game against Neil Peckett, and he had the six Windglobadiers, and I was laughing at him. I was like, "What are you taking in for? They're rubbish." Blah, blah, blah. And then he walked up to my doom wheel and just threw a load of globes at it, and I took it off. And it was funny. It was one of the funny things. He was kind of, see, I told you they were great. Yeah. But in the meta now, with all the warrior armies and the multiple small units and a lot of heavy armoured stuff, suddenly you're looking at, I've been looking at them lately and thinking, do you know what? As long as you use them properly, as long as you learn how to operate them and get them to where you need to get them, then they're fantastic. Or they could be fantastic, because suddenly you've got something that's wounding, it's cutting through armour on a 4+.
Yeah.
Even against, say, like Bretonians, which Skaven are pretty good against Bretonians anyway, but they haven't even got the 5-up wards. No. They've only got the 6-up wards. So that makes it good. Against warriors, fantastic against, warriors. Loads of stuff. Just fit really, really good. Yeah, no, I agree. It does look like a decent option there. It'd be interesting to see if you can pull it off. So there you go, mini bit about the double assassin. It was really as simple as what kit to run on them, and I think those two are ideal. There's a few other quirky things you could do, I suppose, but ultimately, if you're looking for power builds and things in the current meta, as we always refer to it, then that's what you want to be playing. Anything else on that, Wayne? No, I mean you could go down lots of different routes and give them lots of different magic items, but it's really what's effective. I mean anything that creates multiple wounds, is always got to be worth it, because he's going to be, he should be hitting and wounding, and And if you've got it in there for a specific reason of taking out characters, then you really do need the multiple wounds to make sure you do the job.
And the other Tricksters is just the most amazing 15 points you're ever going to spend. I mean, long-term listeners will know that Wayne used to joke when 8th edition came out that my standard kit in the army included a stubborn crown, the crown of command, a flaming banner, and an earthen rod, wasn't it, when it first came out? These days, the other Trickster shard, if it's any sort of combat list, will be kicking around somewhere, and that's not a secret because it's not exactly rocket science to take it. But such an important item with a lot of demons and a lot of warriors around at the moment.
I like that with the Fellblade, when I use the Fellblade as well, because the whole
reroll wards,
reroll wards are brilliant. Yeah, because someone can always dice you.
Yes,
but with that rule, they're probably not going to.
It just I just love it when you go other Tricksters, you got to reroll it. You can see their face. They're like, brilliant item just for that. It doesn't matter what it does in the game, just for that look of you're joking. I mean, I think I mentioned it not a tribute on our Blood and Glory report in the previous episode, but I killed a 3-up Chaos Lord with my vampires in one go, and that was extremely lucky. But he passed all the ward saves and then failed all of them on the reroll and dead one round. It happens, doesn't it? And that's all 15 points a win. So very, very good. Good item. Definitely would take that one. Brilliant. And that's probably our answer to that question. So I hope that helped you in some way or another. So, in this segment, we have interviews recorded live from the tribute event down in Cardiff on an English scene tournament, which I attended during the weekend. We've got different subjects ranging from high elves, dark elves, painting, loads of different bits and bobs, just trying to get a wide range of players to hopefully just give some other interesting points you don't always hear on the show. So hopefully you enjoy it. Enjoy. Okay, so sitting in Firestorm after game one, actually, and I'm with Amit. How's it going?
Good. A little bit delicate, but convincing win in first game.
So I suppose we should cover the social of this event, really, because it's something slightly different. So what went down last night? I mean, listeners have got to hear that I'm a little bit croaky and you're a little bit...
I'm missing several hours, starting from about 7 p.m. to this morning. But I understand that we were all buying rounds and rounds of shots in Walkabout. And then I was kissing people.
Yeah, I do remember that now. It's coming flooding back. I was trying to think about it this morning. It's the stuff like I worked out. I couldn't quite work out how I got back, and then I realised I just flashes of Paddy talking to me on the yeah.
Well, I got told this morning that I was the cause of Matthew Saul ending up in A&E, which is quite impressive.
Yeah, somehow there was it sounds odd for listeners, but there was a bouncy castle in the middle of a bar
with a surfboard,
and basically fell off of it, or you pushed him apparently. So the story goes. But
yeah, I don't remember there being a bouncy castle. So
no,
it's a fun night. It's a very fun night. But what I guess started as a quiet few drinks watching the Heelan game ended up in a full-blooded.
For a Friday, I thought, we're going. There was a few guys going down. I thought, we're there. I ended up getting in at gone 3, and I was like, this is a bad idea.
Well, I was told this morning that Mr. Hale was searching for me in the pub. Apparently, I disappeared.
Yeah, I couldn't find you for ages.
I'd just taken myself to bed.
There was a bit. I think there's quite a lot of that because randomly people started disappearing, and I remember turning around at about, I don't know, 1:30, 2 o'clock, and there's only about 10 of us left. I was like, where's everyone gone? And then they've gone to bed. I was like, okay. But it was good.
Rob Hallam grudged me game 1 in an attempt to make up for South Coast a couple of years back. But I shot off a Skaven army with a Warriors list, which was quite amusing.
Because you're running double hell cannon, right?
Double hell cannon. Treason unit of slaves, turn 1, straight off the board.
Yeah, of course.
Killed the Seer with a hell cannon. Got into the flank of the furnace with a unit of halberd Nurgle warriors, and they just went straight through it. I lost 1 unit of Marauder horsemen, 118-2. The only thing I didn't get the poison wing globadiers because they ran away. Bell was still alive, and the storm vermin. That was it.
Nice. So your warriors list sounds slightly different to the norm. So just run through it. You don't have to do items.
Yeah, no, it's cool. I got really bored of pushing either the Lord or the Demon Prince, the Skull Crushers, the Chimeras, and the Chariots. So I thought, right, 2 big blocks of warriors because no one takes them, and I think they're actually pretty good. Just they're expensive. And the way I looked at it, every tournament now, a third of the players are warriors. It's a given. And the warriors blocks are great in the warrior matchup because they ruin Skull Crushers. So 2 units of 20 warriors, 1 with great weapons, 1 with halberds, both Nurgle. Level 2 on fire, level 4 on Zinch on disc, trees and shenanigans. 2 hell cannons, 2 units of Marauder horse, BSB on foot, and another disc character just go war machine hunting. and the list is defensive in nature, but it's a little bit different, fun to play.
I played at the ETC. I played a Russian guy who had. He still had all the toys like the prints and all the rest of it, but he had the whole treason plus Doom and Darkness. He had the combo,
that's horrible.
He just literally panicked me off. So I do see it, and some successful Warriors lists recently have been running the Hellcannons, haven't they? So I haven't seen two played, so that's going to be interesting to see how you do.
With I think I'll do okay. I don't think I've got the tools to kind of pick up a podium here, but I think I'll still do okay. Because, I mean, in the meta, the list is still pretty horrible.
Yeah.
And I'm missing most of the toys that most Warriors armies have as well.
Yeah.
So it's just a bit different. It's quite good fun.
No, it's good. And this tournament as a whole has got some scenarios in it. Later we've got to play, I think, Watchtower and Blood and Glory. Are you concerned on any of those or not?
Watchtower I'm really looking forward to. I've got 2 units of 20 Noble Warriors. And one of them may have an item that makes them quite useful in a building.
I wonder what it could be.
So I'm not fussed about Watchtower. No. I'm really certain that if my opponent has it, I can take it off them pretty quickly. Blood and Glory I'm looking forward to. Not played it in a while. And one of my favourite games of Warhammer ever was Blood and Glory on the Sunday morning at this event last year, where I had to keep running away to throw up.
Oh, right, okay,
But and I got Scots General turn 1 with a caress, which helped a lot. But I'm quite looking forward to it. It's a little bit different, and my characters are all warded up the wizards. So
it'll be good. What do you think it is about this event that causes so much like drinking and random nights out?
Cardiff's good for it anyway, and the fact that everyone's in quite a close area. The venue's not far from central town. And it's cheap compared to where most of us live. So it's
except for all the northern people, it's well expensive.
But to be fair, I mean, the vast majority of gamers here. I mean, last year was Channel 4, Black Sun, the Plymouth guys, all the Wales guys, and then all the London lot. And to be fair, it's a fairly similar crowd again, plus Northern Ireland who pop down every year. I just think it's a really nice crowd. On this winning team, most people know each other anyway, and it's just a more relaxed tournament.
I've got to say I like it. I always like Cardiff. I know we've spoke about this in the pub last night when I was talking to people, but it was always the must-do something in Cardiff. It's just a nice town.
It's carnage,
and that I think it runs, but it's doesn't have a fantasy tournament in it now. So
that's a shame. That's not one I ever made because I joined the scene a bit later. But I mean, Downfall again this year. I'm really looking forward to.
I'm disappointed I can't make that. It's my birthday weekend, but I think my missus has
same with mine.
But it's always a good weekend. But did the other thing I wanted to ask you about while you're on mic is English players know you very well because you seem to be forever winning sportsmanship trophies. Right? I mean, you've got 6, 7 in the year, is it? So it's silly. But also doing well on the gaming tables. You know, we didn't mention it on the show. I think we forgot at the time. But here you go. You finished. Was it second or third? At South Coast GT this year?
Last year.
Last year. Yeah. So you had some good results, but you've also managed to be picking up a lot of sports trophies. What is it? What is it that you do? How do you get all these trophies?
I don't know. I mean, I'm quite a talkative person. I don't think I'll be drinking today just yet. But normally happy to buy a few drinks, sit around, and I mean, gaming's fairly incidental. I'm having a chat with my opponent, and most people you play are reasonable people. They're normal people. You can have a discussion with them, and I mean, I don't mind. Like if someone says you've hit 7, you've hit 8, it doesn't bother me. You just give them it. I don't know. I guess just talking to your opponent makes life so much easier. I played one player who just didn't want to talk to me at all, and that was probably the worst game of Warhammer I've ever played. It's
not this event. This is generally over the last year or so.
It's a social hobby, and I guess providing you're a normal person, it's not difficult to just sit down with your opponent, have a chat, and it's nice meeting new people as well.
No, I always like that as part of this because it's funny where all people come from in terms of what professions they do,
absolutely,
and backgrounds. And all
I
the
think
rest
that's what makes it fun. And obviously, if you're playing people again and again, you build up a rapport with that person, and it's I mean, I think I've played most of Black Summon with multiple times, and they're always good games. We always have a laugh. We're always drinking. So it's just, I think they always give me best sports as well.
No, but no, it's good, and I always think it's like you say, it's not a fluke if you're winning that many on that many occasions. So I'm always interested if there's a particular reason, but there isn't. It's just being polite and courteous and all the rest.
Well, I mean, just don't be a to people on the table, basically. I mean, granted, some people have left the scene due to other players' interactions with them. And a lot of these players are no longer allowed to events, which I think, from what I've heard, the last year has been a lot better for the whole social aspect anyway. Like less arguments at tables, that kind of stuff. And it's just, it's never nice to have a game where you think something's, there's questionable rules calls and stuff. So I just tend to let my opponent have it. I don't really mind.
Yeah. No, it's good. It's good. Wow. There you go. First hands for the listeners. How to win sports trophies. Just don't be a.
I get them drunk as well.
Yeah. Well, that always helps as well. That always helps. So, what's the aspirations for this weekend then? I mean, do well, obviously, but what do you think your chances are?
I think I'll do all right. If I want to try and win it, I'd probably build a much harder list. But I figured I just want to try something different. I think I'll still do top. I think I did top 10 maybe. I think I'll still do all right. Just want to have some fun games, and my hangover's starting to clear up, so I might even get back on the wagon.
I got a little story to tell you about that. In the middle of my game, I really had to go to the toilet, so I said to Lorenzo, "I'm gonna just go to the toilet and I'll come back." And I'm still actually a little bit dizzy still now with alcohol. And I come back and I actually went and stood at the wrong table. I stood in the table in front of where I was, and they just all looked at me and laughed at me. I was, "Oh yeah, I'm playing over there, aren't I?" But yeah. It's going to be good. No, well, I hope that you have a good tournament. I'm sure we'll catch up at some point to see how it's gone. So, yeah, good luck.
No, thanks, Sam.
So, I'm sitting in Firestorm, still croaky, still under the influence of alcohol from this morning. And I'm with Mikey and Tom. How are you doing, guys?
Good. Yeah, very good.
Yeah. Is that because you both just won your games?
Yeah.
20-0.
Big 20s, is it? I saw you lot sitting around, like, this is the 20 club over here. I wasn't allowed in it with my 15. But, so the reason I wanted to talk to you, Mikey, mainly is a couple of things, really. Firstly, I want to talk to you about painting, because it's like a big thing, isn't it? It gets a lot of...
at the moment,
stigma and all the rest of it around it, and you've got quite a rack full of best armies over the years and everything else, and you run a painting studio for a living, don't you? So do you want to plug that while you're here?
Not really.
No, you don't want to plug it. It's all good then. So and what's your opinion on the tournament standard as a whole? Not just here, but generally, as we're talking about.
Generally, most people make an effort to have a painted army, and I think that's more than what you expect from most people, so can't complain really.
And what do you think, what would you say, I mean, you obviously have won a rack load of them over the year, but what do you think's the most important thing when painting a new list
to win best painters?
Yeah.
To have a centrepiece that draws people's attention to your army, and then people generally just vote for cool things.
Yeah.
Having something big and cool is the most important thing.
Good.
It's got to be a good standard throughout,
but
you need something big to win.
Good. And I haven't had a good look at your army yet, but apparently it's pretty good. Are you happy with it?
I'm happy with
it. I'm all right. It's all right. Yeah. How long's that taken to put together? What would you say an average army takes?
That's not a fair question. I'm really quick at painting, ridiculously fast.
Yeah.
So, for instance, I had a Sunday to myself last week. I painted a Frost Phoenix, 3 bolt throwers, 5 Corsairs, and 10 Blackguards.
Jesus. And what was that with? Airbrushing or just?
No, just with painting.
Just speed. Animal. I can't stand you people.
That's as hard I can run painting.
That's how. Yeah, I was gonna say you got to. I do see these people that run painting studios, and I can never work out. They do it on an hourly rate, but I'm guessing that's how. Do it quick, and you make some money. So, what do you think about the whole soft scores versus not having soft scores debate? It was a big thing recently with Blood and Glory. We had them and kind of didn't have them, and
tournament to tournament. Personally, I prefer the people running the event to pick some nominations and then the players to vote on the best one.
Yeah.
And that's it.
So no points for painting?
No points for paying. Your models have got to be paid. If they're not paid, they're taken off.
Yeah.
And they are taken off.
Yeah.
Not they're left on.
Yeah.
Can I just chime in here as well? I think a lot of the discussions are around people complaining about soft scores and things like that. There is enough tournaments in the UK. There are enough different packs. Tournament organisers will choose what they want.
That's not just the UK. That's in multiple countries.
Vote with your money. If you don't like painting points, don't go to events with painting points. Don't go to them and then complain that you don't get full points.
Yeah.
You can pick the events you go to. There's an event almost every weekend. So.
Yeah, definitely. And we. I think the Blood and Glory is an example of that. Some people didn't do it because they just didn't want to.
Yeah, a lot of people were quite vocal about it. They said, at the end of the day, it's not right for me. I'm not going to play.
No.
I would have played, but I was busy that weekend. I'm not a huge fan of soft score events, but I'll always, if there is soft scores there, I'll make an effort to make sure I get the full points.
Yeah.
And if it makes me make an effort, then it's good.
No, I think that's the way forward. it looks like the draw's up, so we're going to have a look at that, and I'll grab you guys later because I'm keen to know Mikey's opinion on Dark Elves as he's been playing them, and I want yours, Tom, just because you're a filthy bandwagoner and you probably want to paint in an army. So yeah, cool. We'll catch up in a sec.
That's a strong word.
Okay, so I'm sitting after game 2. We've got plenty of time in the round. Sitting here with Andy Barnes. Hello, mate. How's it going?
How's it going?
Yeah, all right. Well, it'd be better if you'd given up more points, but yeah, not too bad. So, Andy, you've been playing Lizardmen for quite a while, haven't you? Which is why I wanted to talk to you. How have you found them? The new book?
New books. It's much of a muchness, I think, from the previous book. I think the Leadership 5 is a big drop on the Skinks. Makes it difficult to play wide. I think you need to keep it a bit tighter. I've enjoyed using the Stegodons. I've got 2 Stegodons in the list. The D3 wounds have done quite well for me.
Yeah, they were doing good in our game. They managed to go in. One of them went into a Terrorgeist, didn't it, and destroyed it with like 7-8 wounds or something to it on the charge, which is cool. But yeah, people have been asking me about something bad's happened. People have been asking me about Lizardmen, about what would I take, and I think I'd have at least one Stegodon at the moment, just because you need something that fights somewhere, and they're all right, aren't they? They're not.
Yeah, they're good. I mean, I've been lucky 2 games I've played. I've not had any cannons.
No,
right, so.
But there aren't that many around. I mean, okay, I suppose there is skull cannons. There's a few of them, but they can only have one at this tournament and stuff. So, and as you've got so many, you've also got life magic, haven't you?
Yeah.
So why life then? I suppose there's a lot of discussion over what's better, Wonder and Deliberations or Death or High, but no one's even mentioning life. So why life?
I'm not really sure. I had a few practice games and I tried the High Magic. I wasn't impressed with it. Wandering Deliberations, which was, to be fair, was quite good. But as I started to do the list, I wanted to slightly more combat orientated Lizardman army, and I ended up with 2 Stegs in the list. I thought,
well, in our game,
life was quite useful for keeping them up.
Yeah, it was. I mean, in our game, you just rolled really badly, didn't you? We were talking about before the game the loss of no all law, and you ended up with no dwellers and no flesh to stone, did you?
Yeah,
just
that's it.
Yeah, not good. So, do you play regularly at the club these days?
Do I what, sorry?
Do you play regularly at the club?
I've probably had the past 4 or 5 months where I've not really played a game. I didn't play a lot since South Coast, but I've started playing again the last couple of months a bit more.
Yeah, because we don't really we don't get a chance very often on the show to talk to people from up north. But it used to be like the gaming centre of the world for Warhammer.
Yeah, that's it.
Because you're part of the Dragon Slayers, aren't you?
Yes,
so, and they're a bit of an institute where myself and Wayne are concerned. But they've been around for so long. But is that still reasonably busy?
It is. Yeah, I think Warhammer's a bit of a back burner at the moment. Like AD, for instance, who's like the daddy of the team. He's doing a lot of like Napoleonics and stuff like that. So he keeps on threatening to go to tournaments, but
he hasn't quite done it.
Yeah, I mean it ebbs and flows. I think it'll come back.
Cool. And what about you? Are you enjoying the 8th edition? You think it's good?
I love 8th edition. Yeah, I didn't really play 7th much.
No.
Played bits and pieces with it.
Yeah.
I like the flow of 8th better. I think there are bits and pieces that I don't like, but in general I think it's a much better game. It's more fun.
I do. I like the whole combat reform in business. For me, that makes the game brilliant. You can. There's a lot of tactics and tricks and stuff you can do in that. And I like that. So, no, that's cool. So what's the plan for the Lizards? You've got quite a nice army. I'm a big fan of the scheme. It's like a bone. I don't know. What is it? Bone and red? Is that the best way to describe it?
Yeah. I mean, I think once I'd sort of like got halfway through the army, I realised it was very much like the old Tyranid army that the Games Workshop painted about. I was like, but I wanted to try and go for like. I initially did it without the red, and it was sort of like just the natural tones kind of thing. But it just looked a bit bland on the table, so I added the red as an afterthought more than anything, and to tie into the bases.
I really like it. What I also like is the bit on your slan. You've got like something like purple sort of bit on it.
Yeah, I mean, I did toy with trying to fit a bit more purple into the army for the detail. I think when it comes, because none of it's finished, when it comes to adding the little details, gems and things like that, I think purple will be the carryover colour, I think.
I really like it. But so you intended to play it? Have you got any other armies, or is it?
I've got bits of armies, nothing else painted. I've got an urge at the moment to do a proper painting army, and I'm not going to be playing many tournaments in the next few months, but hopefully I'll be able to get some painting done.
Cool. And how many events have you done this year?
South Coast was the only one. I helped run the slaughter at the start of the year, but normally I do 4 or 5 a year. But,
I guess I'm sure I've seen you
normal.
more than this year. So, I mean, and how have you found the state of the game at the moment in terms of, are you concerned about what we see on the scene with Warriors and Demons dominating tournaments or not?
Yeah, I was a bit worried this weekend about playing Warriors armies. I've played a couple of practice games against them, and just don't know what to do.
No.
Basically, I haven't got a clue.
No, we were talking about this actually at the start of the game, weren't we? About the fact that the skinks are like, I might as well just put them in a corner or something, unless you got a load of them.
Liability, yeah.
No, it's interesting. And who did you play in your first game?
I played.
What did you play?
Oh, I played Orcs and Goblins.
Oh, yeah.
It was, to be fair. Oh, sorry, no, I say it was Goblins.
Oh, was it? Okay.
Which on paper seemed like a very good matchup, but it was quite tough because of the sheer amount of fanatics, manglers.
Yeah.
I haven't got the typical amount of chaff that a lot of Lisbon armies have.
Yeah. Like I say, it's more combat oriented,
Yeah.
and they've got a ton of like disposable high impact units.
That's it. Yeah, I got some of it, but I couldn't stop it all. So it did take chunks out of my army, and again, I lost both the Stegodons by the end of the game. But I got 14-6 win, and I was happy enough with that.
And you, obviously, you picked, like you said, a more combat oriented Lisbon army. And how have you actually found the combat element?
Well, this is the thing. It's only really the Stegs that have done the fighting.
Yeah.
So with Saurus, I'm always unsure what to do with them.
Yeah.
The actors are bunkered. In the past I've had a bigger unit of them, but even then I don't feel like it.
No, it's almost like 4 points in one place.
Yeah,
I was always a big fan of roughly the kind of thing you were running there, which is splitting it and then trying to use all the bits to support each other. So like medium-sized units rather than just a big point sink.
I find that a more fun way to play as well.
Yeah.
Multiple units rather.
I think that's why a lot of people enjoy playing the demons to a degree, because they're actually, the army is really solid, but it's got like a lot of different units.
Definitely, yeah.
Unless you're spamming like one particular unit, it's got quite a good.
I could see the new Dark Elves being in that kind of vein as well, if you with the right units. I think.
Yeah, I hope so. What's your opinion on those then?
I've not had a proper full look on the book. I don't think there is filth as a lot of people at the internet's making out. I think they've got the edge over High Elves in a few matchups, but I don't think High Elves are as bad as a lot of people.
No, it's funny. I speak to everybody I spoke to this weekend. It's been the same. They've been saying, I think High Elves are better than people make them look, but obviously the High Elf players will tell you it's not. You haven't tried, whatever, and that might well be true. There's always things you don't see. I can't understand the internet rage. I understand if you compare it to High Elves, there are some things that would frustrate you, but I can't see the pure, like, oh my god, these are going to break Warhammer. I just don't see it.
No, not at all.
I think people forget the whole toughness 3 elves. You don't get that much in the army.
Yeah,
there's a lot of stuff out there. I don't think it'd be a massive deal, and it might, it would certainly shake it up a bit if we've got more people. Because there was a time where everyone was running like Lisbon and Empire, for example. And these days, it's Warriors and Demons. There's a lot of
and I think I don't know about Warriors, but the Dark Elves might be. Find Demons a reasonable matchup. I think. So, and I think High Elves do as well. Obviously, got the Banner of the World Dragon. So, I think the ballistic skill shooting, I think, is solid. I think.
I think the Frost Heart as well.
It's fantastic.
Is amazing. I don't think you need 2, but I think, like you say, bolt throwers, sisters. They've got some real good units. I've been tempted for a long time with that.
Yeah, I like the idea of a counter-attacking kind of High Elf army.
Yeah, which is why I always like the Lizards, because it was quite like that. But I think the game's moved to a point at the moment where it makes that really hard to do, because you haven't got like long range shooting, you haven't got enough stuff basically to stop people just running at you. So it's not quite got the same enjoyment it had for me, that one. But hopefully the Dark Elves might have that. And I think the High Elves have got a good one as well. So what's the target for the tournament then? Anything particular?
Well, considering my combat list and fearing that I was going to end up playing loads of Warriors, I said if I came away with 2 wins, I'd be very happy. I've had a win and a draw so far. So
good.
I'll take that so far.
Good. Well, good luck, mate, with the rest of it. And I'm sure I might try and grab you at some point just to see if you managed to kill anything else we were impacted. So that's what I'm more interested in how it goes. So cheers, that mate. Thanks.
Cheers. No.
Okay, so we're back. It's after game 3 now by the time we caught up with Mikey. So we were talking about Dark Elves, weren't we?
Yeah.
You're doing alright, aren't you, with your Dark Elves this weekend?
I'm doing pretty good this weekend.
We're sitting next to table 1. How many points are you on after day 1?
60
out of
60.
That's pretty good, mate.
I've got 8,100 VPs.
Nice. And what is it you're using? What's in the list? You don't need items, just stuff.
Yeah, I've got a Dragon Lord with Cloak of Hagreef and then 1 at Royal Thing. What table are you on before I tell them?
Nowhere, you'll be fine. 94.
A Pendant BSB on a peg.
Yeah.
Level 2 Death. 18 Corsairs with the Flaming Banner, just for Watchtower.
Retro,
just for Watchtower. 2 units of Crossbowmen, 2 units of Dark Riders, a Hydra, 2 units of Seven Shades, and 2 Assassins.
That's pretty good going. That's pretty good.
2 of everything.
Yeah, bit of everything, bit of shooting, bit of magic. It's good. And any major performers from the list this weekend? Anything that's really stood out? Or has it all just been good?
It's all been good, really. Yeah, it's been alright.
And this is, we should say, this is the old book as well, isn't it? Obviously, you've mentioned some bits. So, have you had a good chance to have a look at the new one?
I've had a little look. Yeah.
And is it looking? Are you happy with what's that gone on?
Yeah, I mean, my elf army is different in that I can do dark elves, high elves, wood elves.
Yeah.
So I've got a bit of a choice.
Yeah.
It's all right. It's not as good as the last one.
No.
But nobody expected it to be as good as the last one.
Don't let the internet. Don't tell the internet that. They think it's amazing.
Personally, I prefer the high elf one.
Yeah.
Because all the new stuff in high elves, like the Lord Master, the Phoenix, the Anointed, the Sea Helm, they're all just cool and they do cool things. No, there's nothing like that in the Dark Elf book for me.
No.
All the new stuff, not really that cool.
No, it was a bit like a Lizard release, really, wasn't it? It was a bit of a tweak with the odd couple of bits on.
Yeah, it was just
a drastic
points increase.
Yeah.
That was it.
Yeah, just added some points. But no, the internet says it's broken. So, I mean, are you looking forward to? Is that what you're going to be playing for?
Everybody's going to play Dark Elves, so I'm going to play High Elves. For a bit.
That's cool. Yeah. Well, we were literally talking to Tom, who was joining us in the first interview. I'm sure I'll grab hold of him later. He's on 59 out of 60 with High Elves, isn't it? It's probably you two in the morning. He seems to think they're the most broken thing ever. So
I think the telling thing is, me and Tom both wrote a list before ECC, and the only thing we've got different is the core, and that's 600 points exactly.
Yeah.
And the Swedish ETC list is exactly the same, apart from his core's different.
yeah.
So I think that one build is pretty good.
Yeah, it is. And we should probably say what the build is. I mean, it's 30 odd white lions with World Dragon. Was it level 4?
Level 4 light.
Oh, light, yeah.
Lore Master, who's also a light wizard,
Yeah.
and then a level 2 light. So you've got a mini light council.
Yeah.
You got loads of magic missiles. You've got both the rings in my list as well. So magic missile spam with the book is really useful.
Yeah.
It's got a Frost Phoenix, and then some core and 3 bolt throws, and a Reaver bow.
Yeah, I like it. He's explained to me he's played warriors, and demons, I think, this weekend, and just destroyed them.
Exactly what he wants to play.
Yeah.
Perfect.
Yeah, and just talking to him about, how do you deal with all the chariots? It's like, well, banish that one, bolt throw that one, potion of strength, Reaver bow that one. It's like done. It all goes. So it's
3 lots of gems. It's been 6 on that one.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. It's pretty good. So I'm pleased actually, because I've been banging this drum about high elves for a while, and I thought they were pretty good. And it's good to see people doing them. It'd be good to see actually the return of the elves. A few more people play high elves. You're obviously going to have a lot of people playing the dark elves.
I think so.
It should be quite good. And are you running high elves same as that then, pretty much?
Pretty much. Yeah.
Yeah.
I think that's the best way to go if you want to play competitively.
Yeah.
And I think it's nice. It's good against the meta, which is always good.
Yeah. Have you written any new dark elf lists for the new book?
I haven't written any yet. I think when I write the first one, I'm going to have a big unit of executioners, 2 big units of corsairs, and a shadow level 4.
Yeah, sounds about right.
I think the shadow level 4 and like a cheap BASB and a cheap fast cab hero is probably going to be all my heroes.
That'd be quite cool. I like that idea.
Then,
when you've got good troops, it's nice to be able to do that.
Yeah, and lots of elves. Lots of elves.
Yeah. I think it'd be quite good.
I did write. Well, me and Tom were talking about on the way here, running level 4 light and a light council.
Yeah.
And then 3 hydras and 2 of the other new monsters. Whose name I don't know.
Yeah.
And then like bubble time warp.
Yeah, I like it.
Go monsters, go.
I like it.
And like the new one with the rerolls to hit.
Yeah.
Might actually hit with all these attacks and get an extra D6 from 7.
I like that. I think that's cool. Just you got to run it at some random tournament. Be interested to see if under, say, Swedish comp or something, that list is
how easily it gets in.
Yeah, because otherwise it might be quite quirky when everyone else has had their toys away. All those kind of things. It's good. So, what do you think your chances are for tomorrow then? Good.
I don't know. I'm playing Tom first game. I've already played pretty much that list once and 20-0'd it.
Yeah.
So
your shooting should be quite good.
The shooting's very good, and like the White Lions. Last time I just moved to Dragon 1 and to Hydra the other, breathed on them twice. There's 8 left. It's not a threat anymore. Right. You can just take it off with anything.
I like it. So you'll fancy that one.
We'll see. Tom's a very good player, so
yeah, definitely. And but there's some interesting lists actually kicking around. There's an Orc and Goblin list doing well. Again, similar thing. Meta-wise, it's played Bretonians, Warriors, I think, and Beastmen, something like that. And Beastmen, I was interested because sometimes I think that could probably get a bit hard work.
Yeah, for the Savage Orcs as well, going through the gore can be a bit tricky.
Yeah, definitely. So, but that seems to be doing well. Dom Hook and Dan Thomas, which is a Skaven and a slightly different Warriors build, seems to be kicking around, and then Russfield with Demons somewhere, I think. So should be an interesting playoff tomorrow. 5 games. What's your preferred format? 5 or 6 games?
5 games here. I've got a 5.5 hour drive home. I'm sure you'll drive quite long as well. that's all right. But every time at a 5-game tournament, when I finish my 5th game, I want another game.
Yeah.
I've never not wanted to win another game.
No, I find from a results perspective, 6 is great. But yeah, it's
getting home.
Yeah,
it's 5's better.
Yeah. I mean, I'm doing Bjorn Supremacy. I'm coming all the way to Stockport again, and that journey is the worst journey back. Up's fine, but back is something to do with the roads there, and I think that's 6, isn't it? That could be. I think I might have to book Monday off. So
get the hotel for Sunday night as well. And go back Monday.
There's a few guys doing that here. I can believe it. They're having the whole full weekend of it to make sure that it's good. So good. Okay, well, good luck tomorrow, mate, and thanks for talking to us. And I'll be interested to hear and see what you come up with the Dark Elves when you get back around and doing them in the new book. So
sounds good.
Your army's looking good. So, cool. Good luck, mate. So we're after game 4, isn't it? 5-game tournament tribute. I'm with Mikey Newman and Tom Maudsley, who had the Sunder off on table 1. How'd it go then? I mean, I spoke to Mikey yesterday, and he was well up for it. He thought he could do you. What did you think?
It's not the easiest matchup in the world for the High Elves. I don't think either person actually has it on paper. The High Elves, I think, actually have the upper edge in the shooting war with the bolt throwers, which the Dark Elves can have, but in this game it wasn't there. So
cool. And how did it go down then in the end?
Basically, we sat off each other and took some chaff.
Yeah, all right. Killed a little bit of this, a little bit of that. And was that a deliberate effort, being that you're on table 1? Was it a case of not risking, or was it just the way the game playing down?
No, not at all. I think it's more on the way that the scenario was. Both our armies weren't ideal under the scenario.
Oh, because we're playing Blood and Glory, weren't we?
Yeah. So either way, if I pop the dragon off the Lord off the dragon with a bolt thrower, that breaks Mikey's fortitude.
Oh, so 800 points swing, because this
tournament. So we couldn't really commit. Just knowing that, quite easily on any turn it could turn into a huge loss.
Yeah, because we should say, I suppose, it's not instant lose at this, is it? It's 800 points, but that's pretty much an instant lose, but it doesn't stop. Yeah, I forgot that, because both of you haven't got massive banners, have you?
No.
Kicking around. No, that's
and they're all on like mine. I've got four fortitude in the White Lion unit.
Yeah.
And then 1 around, but it's still if I lose the general, I still break.
Yeah.
It's only so far a 2-up ward save will take you.
Cool. So you both in it still for the last round? Are you still up there?
I think we'll both be up there.
I think with table 1 and 2.
All right, excellent, good. And any ideas of you playing, or what you're going to be playing against?
No idea.
Not sure yet.
We think Raf just won 20-0 on table 2, so he's in the lead, we think.
Yeah.
So he's probably played Tom's enemy.
Oh, okay, cool.
And John just won 20-0 on table 3, so I imagine I'll play John.
So
he's a point
is that John with
me.
High Elves?
Yeah.
So you're telling me table 1 of a tournament is High Elf on 1 and 2, Dark Elf,
and Lizardmen.
Yeah. Where's all the Warriors and Demons, boys? Have people learnt to play them, or is it just no one good playing them, or what?
The High Elf list that I'm using is sort of there to kill Warriors and Demons. So games 1, 2 and 3, I got the draw and knocked a few of them back down.
Yeah, sure. I think John's played a few, and Demons especially.
Yeah, he just played Rust, didn't he?
Yeah.
Did he beat Rust then?
20-0 Rust.
Oh, why do I not know about this? I'm going to go find him in a minute.
I don't think Russ will tell you.
I'll get him on mic for it. Yeah. No, that's cool. Well, it was always going to be a hard matchup. We were talking about it last night. The Demon list struggles so much. It's a Cav plus as well, isn't it? So, that's
Rust
good.
committed everything to the Demon Prince. Oh no, the World Dragon unit and just lost it all.
It just took off.
I was talking to Russ about it, and I think he was completely right in doing so, because Russ is there to win tournaments and win games. He's not going to get a podium by winning that game 12-8.
No. Yeah.
So he has to go in big for the 20-0. If he gets it, he's well up there. If not, he's not. And, fair play.
I think in the 5-game tournament, we were talking about this before we came, it's always the same. If you don't win big, you've got no hope of getting on the podium.
Yeah, Russ has already drawn a game as well, hasn't he?
Oh, yeah, it wasn't going to happen. Yeah, don't blame him. I would have done the same. In fact, I did earlier, but not in the same situation. I put it in regardless. I thought, losing 8 by 8 points in the middle tables is just rubbish. I'll just charge it in and find out. 20-0 loss. That's a shame. That's a shame. Not in the last game. The last game went all right, but so that's good. That's good news. So you do rate the High Elves still then? Another game in, you still like it?
Yeah.
Good.
I think they're such a versatile army.
Yeah.
Especially with the Lawmaster. Helps so much in every game.
Yeah, I suppose it's that flexibility, isn't it? Yeah. I mean, I've watched that army being played, and it looks good. It looks really good. So the scenarios we mentioned earlier. I mean, do you like scenarios? Did you? I know it's a bit light scenarios at this event, but what do you think?
Yeah, I wouldn't be here if I didn't. If I wasn't keen on it, again, like the painting thing. If you're up for it, you'll go for it. I think changing it around so that it's not an instant win and tweaking them so that some games can't go on for 10 turns and things like that. It's good. I think the building, like the watchtower itself, is great. It encourages diverse lists, but I think with such a strict building cap as well,
it's 20 models, wasn't it?
It really favours armies like warriors and demons, I think, because they've got the strong core units.
Yeah,
but they don't need to be a certain number of models. So maybe even put a point cap on a builder in a unit. A unit in a building rather than a model cap, maybe.
Yeah, I don't know. There's some interesting options there. What about you, Mikey? Do you like him?
I like him from the point of view of everybody has to change their lists and bring something different because they've got to have banners, they've got to have a unit, whatever. I don't like him because it leads to non-games sometimes. Watchtower especially.
Watchtower,
But even Blood and Glory, if you haven't got that much fortitude like we just had, you can't afford to play with half your army. Really,
some armies just can't do it. I was playing ogres in the last game, and like if the gut, it's all in the gut style, and it doesn't take a lot for the BSB to die or something, and then that's the end of the game. So I think you get a little banners, but not a lot.
I don't think people change their lists enough for Blood and Glory. I think they just basically drop a couple of models here or there and put banners on the units that they already have. So, at which point you've got 5 fast cav with a banner just because they're a fortitude. But then it's also really easy to lose that fortitude at the same time.
Yeah, because you're giving them away or doing whatever. No, I can see that. Well, cheers to talk to us, guys. Good luck, and may the best man win. That's the cliche, isn't it?
Yeah.
So, cool. Cheers, guys.
Thank you.
So we're here just again after game 4, before the last game. I'm with Raf Harbinson. How you doing?
Tired, but okay.
Yeah, good. Now you're using Lizardmen this weekend and doing pretty well. You're on table 1, 2, one probably.
2 last round. And probably 1. Depends how I don't know who's played each other and stuff, but it's terrifying.
And what are you running with this weekend? What's the build?
Well, I've maxed out on 1-up armor save characters. So I've got a Death Slan, an Old Blood. They're all on cold ones, obviously. 3 Scarvets, all with 1-up armor saves and great weapons. 2 skinks with both the cube and the scroll. And then just skinks. Oh, and a Stegodon, 2 single salamanders, and then it's just a combination of cohorts and skirmishes.
So that's quite interesting. So I've been saying for a while that I think the build needs 1 Stegodon, and most lists can afford 250 points on a monster just hang around. Is it a normal steg, ancient steg?
Ancient, yeah.
I
don't think the baby's terrible in comparison. 20 points less, and it's just nowhere near as good.
No, I agree.
It's good. It gets one-shotted by artillery every now and then, but it has that. It's very good at charging stuff that's being pinned by vets. So Chaos Warriors and stuff, you manage to pin them and then you just
slam it in.
Multiple wounds.
I got experience that first hand early. My Terrorgeist got charged by an Ancient because I made a mistake. Or a combat didn't happen, something crumbled. And 7 wounds, dead, take it off. It's amazing.
No, I love it. And it's hard to replace it, hard to go with something else. You could go Pterodons or 50 more skinks, but there's a limit to how many skinks you want on the table.
So and enjoyment, and also on the 20-0 system, I imagine you need something to smash something in combat eventually, against less experienced players.
It's actually a nice little bit of long-range shooting as well. It's got an 18-inch blowpipes now, so just factors that in, and it means that as well as you've got the vets, and I've got 5 combat threats basically. 5, and. It helps people play a bit more defensively against you as well, because so you get space to advance the skink so you can flee back.
No, I like it. And how are you finding the lizards overall then?
I'm getting grey hairs. I think they're very similar to before, just not as good. Basically,
you finding it quite seat of the pants in games?
Terrifying. The leadership 5 is massive. If you're outside of the bubble, you can't rely on anything. I lost my Slan in last game yesterday. Somehow held it, and it's like losing a Vampire Lord now, even more than before. They're okay. I just wish there was something more viable than skinks.
Some sort of combat option that actually is really good.
And the thing is, you got 250 points to spare. If you go for Saurus, you end up not having enough chaff and shooting. That 250 points doesn't even buy you that many Saurus.
No, it doesn't. It's 20.
And so it's tough. I want to try the Rippers out just for a laugh. But otherwise, it's very similar. I've been finding that against Warriors, it's a terrible matchup. But if they got Chariots, if anyone's played 40k, it's 3 plus armor save. Space Marines die if you shoot them enough. So it's turned out to be okay, especially now that you got the vets with the strength 7 and the old blood and stuff. But it's exhausting.
Because you're constantly waiting for something to not happen and charge through. No, it did look. It's a tough. I think it's a tough time at the moment in this game to be a Lizardman. Have you played much of the Demon match? Because historically that's pretty good for Lizardman.
It's worse. The Nurgle, the drones are the terrifying thing. And the single beast. I tried to design my list to be able to hold up, which is why I got so many vets. Is that you can hold up the Nurgle elements and then try to pounce on the rest of it. But it's the single beasts that are hard to kill.
Nightmares.
And you don't see many with Furies now, actually. I don't know if they've comped flyers or something, but if they have that and drones, then you know how it is. With flying charges, it becomes a nightmare.
Especially got a Lord of Change running around, although he doesn't want to come too near you. Too many, doesn't take a rocket scientist to charge the whole screen off. So.
It's better than it was in some ways now, because you don't get Bloodthirst with 2+ armor stave as standard anymore.
No.
So Greater Demons are great, because you can make them hide, basically. Or if they make a mistake, like my game I had, round 1, he deployed it too far out, pounced on it with chameleons, left it on 2 wounds, and he had to hide it for the rest of the game. It's okay. You're just not seeing... Nurgle's tough to kill. The rest of it's okay.
Yeah.
Saying that, my old blood got beaten up and run down by horrors game on. So,
oh, nice. I mean, you find that it's pretty, like you say, pretty similar to how it always was with lizards, which is if you're experienced with them, you can hold your own. It's all right. But if you're not good, you're going to get run over.
I think it's exactly the same. It's like Jack obviously has been doing amazing with it for the last few years. But if you looked over the course of the last book, most Lisbon players didn't actually do that well.
No.
So I don't know how much you can read into the book about it, that people haven't been doing that well, because no one ever has. Really.
No. I mean, I always said about this, I think experience is more than anything, and he's played 1 billion games, and he also, if you look at what he relied on, is the flexibility of the double slam and getting 6 turns of using them, which you don't have, and Skink Rock's units buffed with light magic, which you're not going to use, are you? So it's a bit of a problem.
No, and I think they're mid-tier to good army with when you allow special characters. Teto Echo opens up that pseudo second slan and buffs out all your other magic users. When you're relying on no special characters, it does make it much tougher, because you have to commit to a lore. And with Nurgle and Demon Princes and stuff, I go Death because it gives you a chance.
I think it's a very strong choice. Always is, it's good.
But you want to take the new stuff. But the thing is, the Death is also cheaper than going for high Lawmaster or Wandering, and you get an Old Blood. So
it makes a big difference. You run in Channel Staff a bit, so you can't get it on. Is that all you've got pretty much?
Basically, he's a BSB with the Channel Staff and the channels. And then the Old Blood's designed to sit on a Demon Prince for as long as possible, with a 1-up rerollable and Grey Weapon and other tricks of shard.
So how does that interact when you have Teto Echo then? Do you have to drop the whole vet to get him in, or a vet and a half, or is it a priest?
In this list, I could run the same. I'd have to drop a priest and a vet. Basically. I have some points there. That means my vets are really cheap and trashy, really, because I've had to have 3. So you could have 2 better vets instead of 3, which might be better, actually.
And how have you found the cube? Because the cube's an interesting one. I always found, like, before, when it used to do a magic phase and stuff, you can never really rely on it. It's a weird one, because you want to use it on the first spell to drain the phase, but you didn't want to waste it, and this one's a bit like, if they're mind raging or something, do you want to waste a cube on it, or do you want to roll the dice,
I think I've used it once this event. I keep holding it back. Obviously you go scroll first when you need to, and then I'm terrified, because it's that you just know you're going to roll a 1. And then it can be at awkward times where you have Doom and Darkness in play, and you're like, I need to dispel this, and it's going to remove your own spells. It's a great backup. You feel a bit safer. You feel a bit like you can, because the synergy with the priests and the Death Slan is fantastic. You always go for Fate of Buna these days, because you will get within 12 inches of something.
Of course,
So when you have the cube and the scroll, they're more expendable, because you have something to fall back on. But the cube, I take it because they allowed me to. Most of this I don't take it.
No, it's quite a point sink, really, because of the arcane slots, I think. But did and a quick word then on Temple Guard, because you did quite well in the last event last month with Temple Guard. How'd you find them?
I think they're okay. The issue is there's a lot of stuff they can't fight. It's a classic. You see it a lot, and it's good to have a backstop or a unit that other stuff can flee through, or you start putting pressure on, as Jack used to do with the light scrocs. It works with Teto Echo because you can also put pressure on stuff. You can load it up with Scarvets if you want. Vanguard up forward and explode out behind them and stuff. And you get the combat buffs of Heavens are actually decent. But they're really expensive, because you want close to 30 at least, I think. And then you want the Razor Banner on there. And Skull Crushers make a mess. I worry about them. They're a great place to hide a slan and they buy you a bit of time against Demon Princes and stuff when you just want to let something grind on a unit for a little while. I'm not sure they're that optimal.
No.
But in some matchups, it makes a big difference. Against VC, it'd be great to be able to plough into ghouls or skeletons and
my opinion on it was always in the old book. Was it very much depended on what people were using? Like when Mind Razor was around a lot, it was pointless to a degree. I just used it as an expensive bunker because I got fed up with trying to block flying charges and everything else. And it's a bit like this now. I think if I was going to a 20-0 tournament, I might consider them because it gives you a bit more of an aggressive option. But
the issue is that the scene is rife with death magic, and it's an expensive purple sun target.
Yeah.
Nobody's business. And there's a lot of now you get an age of sort of hand grenade characters that can go in and just neutralise a unit, like Demon Prince obviously can eventually kill it. Same with all the Warriors characters
in that sense at the moment, where you're better off with multiple half decent units.
So I think they're good. If, for example, if they were going to let me have more than 20 models in a building, because we had Watchtower here, I would have been very tempted to take a unit. But it means you don't get the steg, basically. No. You have to do these trade-offs, and you probably don't get 3 vets, you have to go for 2. And so I wanted to try the vet looks, the Ancient looks great on paper, so I wanted to try that instead.
I always liked it for the whole defensive rather than offensive use as well. Like, if you're trying to hide a slant, it's great for sitting. You know, you can sometimes block the front, can't block the flank. The steg can stand there; they're not doing it around. You know, it was always the use when I had 2 back in 7th edition. But it does seem reasonable.
I wanted to run 4, but we don't get Lawmaster Life anymore.
No, funny enough, I played against the Lizman player earlier, and he had life, and we were talking before the game. I was like, "Do you not find the knowing all law a problem?" No, rolled his dice and didn't roll any doubles, didn't roll dwellers or flesh to stone. So the magic phase was completely a non-event for the entire game. But it's not good. It's not good. Well, I'm going to let you go and eat some food. Cheers for talking to us, and it's great stuff. Good luck in the last one.
Yeah, you too, Dan. You too. Thanks.
Okay, so it's after Game 5 of the tribute event. I'm sitting in the hall waiting for the ceremony. Still some food going, looking at it, which might be quite nice. And I'm here with the internet legend, and possibly the best internet troll going, Matthew Saul. How's it going?
Not so great, but it's been a good weekend, ish. Apart from getting damaged by a little boy while I was out on a night out.
Amit was on the podcast actually earlier on Saturday after the heavy night, and we were talking about it. But you managed to get knocked off a surfboard on a bouncy castle, which sounds like a really weird injury.
Well, it's about I was sober. I planned just to fall back.
Yeah.
No problem whatsoever, and then Amit came running at me, tackled me down, and I landed awkwardly and ended up with 3 hours in A&E, waiting for my thumb to get x-rayed.
Quality. And what did you use this weekend? Warriors, wasn't it?
I've been trying about different armies over the past 12 months, taken 8 different armies in the past 12 months to major tournaments, just for kicks, really, just for a change.
Well, that's an interesting one then. So what's your favourite of those armies?
My favourite army used to be Empire until the new book.
Yeah.
Until it became Monstrous Budgie Central.
Yeah.
I fell in love with Empire with the big blocks of infantry. I still try and make it work. It still doesn't work. You just can't get through the armours. It's too much 1+ armour save. The halberdiers don't cut it. They just get mowed down. 1+. There used to be just 1+ armour save characters, and now you've got the 1+ armour save monstrous cav.
Yeah.
They just come in and destroy you.
Yeah.
To be honest, well, that's what I found anyway.
What was the most fun then that you played out of the 8?
Against Empire, against Scott's game, and I had him tucked up like a kipper.
Yeah.
And then he cast Enfeeble on my Lord on a disc.
Oh, yeah.
It wasn't in combat. I thought I'd go into combat next turn, and like a muppet, I forgot that he still had dwellers, and he 6-diced it. I had about 7 dice ready to dispel dwellers, and he got the double 6, and he took it off.
I love those combos. Because everyone, like, when you first get 8th edition rulebook, I think everyone goes, well, you just wither them and then do this, or you enfeeble and dwellers them. But it never happens. But it does happen on occasion, doesn't it? I've had it done to me, and then I thought next time I'll never do that again. I'll just dispel the first one. But
well, the thing is, I get rusty because I only play in tournaments. Yeah. I don't play in between.
Also, that reminds me, we were talking. I got slightly off track by your awesome story then. But so when I said favourite 8, what favourite 8 armies? Out the armies you've taken this year, what was your most fun army to play in terms of your list? So you've taken all these different 8 races. What was the most fun one? And then we'll talk about what you think the most competitive one of the 8 was.
I always have fun with Empire, even though it destroys my heart.
Yeah. Do you just like cannoning things?
Yeah. Isn't that the best thing in the world?
Definitely. What about power then? What was the best? What do you think was the most powerful of the ones you ran?
I think in tournament play or team play.
Tournament singles.
Tournament. I think Warriors by far. It's easy to rack up the big wins.
Yeah.
No, actually, I apologise. I made a mistake there. Easiest to big up the big wins is Skaven.
Oh, okay, yeah. Was that at the time you were playing them? I mean, do you think that's changed now with the way the game's gone?
I think it's changed a little with comp, but I still think they've got an answer for everything, and they've got multiple answers. So everybody says it's all random. It's not really random when you've got 3 random things.
Yeah.
One of the 3 random things, if they've got like a 40% chance of working, is going to work, and you're going to take stuff off. They're a nightmare to play against.
Yeah, I know they're not your favourite, are they?
Unless I'm playing Wayne.
Yeah. Well, that's another. Yeah, unless you're playing Wayne. Yeah, that's another way of looking at it as well. I mean, what was the worst, the most boring army that you played out of the ones you took? Are you going to say Skaven again? they were powerful.
Skaven was pretty dull after about the first 4 games.
Yeah.
But I got conned into keep on taking them for the for taking them obviously for Denmark.
Yeah.
And taking them to the home nations.
Oh, okay, cool. Yeah.
So I got forced into taking them then. But it bored me to tears. It's mind-numbingly dull, and I don't know how people can do it. I mean, it's great knocking up the wins quite easily, but it's just the games are very, very repetitive. It's like formulaic.
Oh, okay. No, I can see that. So let's go back to this weekend. I'm just interested, as you managed to take a lot of stuff over the time, what your faves were. But so the weekend, your fave game, as you said, was playing Scott. How have you fared with the Warriors? Is this the first time you played them, really?
No, I played them at Midlands.
Oh yeah, sure.
So that was 6 games. I think I won 4 with them, with no warm-up games.
Yeah.
Here, I might be in the top 3rd if I'm lucky. But it's quite nice to be able to smash stuff rather than being on the smashing end of stuff quite easily. It's quite easy to rack up the big points, unless of course you're facing like orcs and goblins.
Yeah, of course.
Which is just like the bane of Warriors.
Well, they seem to be doing well this weekend. I mean, tables 3 and 4 both orcs. So.
Well, we know your views on trolls.
Yeah, I'm not a big troll fan myself. I may have a few issues with trolls and people pushing trolls forward, but it's they're in the right place, aren't they, at the moment, which is good because it's just unfortunate that I still think the whole orc book thing. They're a combat army that never is. It's not a combat army at all, is it?
It's a dwarf gun line.
Yeah.
With magic
and a bit and some combat to back it up when it doesn't work.
Yeah.
Or just hold points more to the point. But
with mobile chaff as well.
Yeah.
Mobile it's everything that the dwarf lacks. In a gun line.
Well, let's hope they sort the dwarfs out then. So that's good. And now I want to talk about something else as well while we're here. I'm waiting. You're well known for your dislike of paint scores in tournaments, aren't you? Should we say slightly well known? Well, more like you are the king of the anti, the guys of us that want the soft scores in. What's your thoughts on it? Here's your soapbox. Let's go.
Okay. Thoughts are basically you've got. I think that the relaxing of sports scores over the past couple of years has been the boom of the UK scene because it pulls new people in. I mean, the last thing you want to do is somebody... You know how long it takes to paint your first army? You spend like your 8, your 12 months painting your army. You take it to a tournament, and it's an okay level. And you do okay. It's your first tournament. I've won 3 or 4 games. Brilliant. Yeah. And then you get leaped above by people with sports scores. And it's soul destroying.
Oh, soft scores total, or just sports on its own?
Well, sports and paint scores. Obviously there's a level of sportsmanship you have to do, but painting wise, I've actually had 3 blokes come to us when we used to be a club who went to their first tournament and were so sick of the painting scores that they never came to another tournament again.
Okay, yeah. I do. I mean, I see both sides. As always, I'll sit on the fence on it a little bit because I've massively benefited years ago over having a decent army in some tournaments I went to. For me, as long as painting's rewarded, I don't care for them to be in tournaments. I'm not bothered really. It doesn't bother me if they are or if they're not. I understand the system. Because what's interesting for me though, there's a counter argument. Some people say the painted scores make you improve. And in fairness, like you went out your way. Your tomb gigs are really nice.
Yeah, but it's not anybody's place to police and force people to do this because, you know, when the podcast uses the term hobby time, it's always reflected to painting. Painting it's a part of the hobby.
Yeah, of course.
It's an element,
yeah.
And you should be taking out the hobby, what you like about the hobby, what elements you like about it. You shouldn't be forcing your elements on other people and ramming it down their throats, you know. Reading the novels, collecting models, even if they're not painting, because some people are collectors.
Yeah.
Just gamers. The novels, the fluff, all the other games. I mean, with my playing 8 different armies, 2 of them were bought. One of them was lent during the ETC. But there's no way I could get to a WoW level or a superb level on the other 5 armies in that period of time. I like to play different armies. I want to play as long as, for me, I couldn't care less how well painted. As long as it's got 3 colours minimum standard on it, it's the person I'm playing against which brings my enjoyment to the game. Having a pretty army on the other side of the table is like 2 seconds. Oh, that's nice, and then it's gone. It's completely irrelevant.
This is the great thing about the hobby for me is there's a big diversity in opinions on this, and I don't think any of them are wrong. I haven't got a massive opinion either way on it. Like you say, I really appreciate decent paint jobs, but am I bothered about whether someone has more points with me in a tournament for it? I don't know. And also you've got the event of eBay now. Pro painting things. Yeah, you've got some great. I mean, Ben Diesel from the Black Sun podcast is a great example. He's got a really nice Painted Warriors arm that he bought. So how does that affect it?
Yes. Why should he be rewarded? You're effectively saying somebody with more money can buy points in a tournament.
And that was an issue years ago. You used to get actual points for doing it yourself as well and things like this, which upset people as well. You know,
because they lied about it as well. Yeah. There are cases where people actually lied about it.
Of course, yeah, definitely. It's an interesting topic. But I thought I'd ask you while you were here to do. And I'm sure there's loads of people listening who actually completely agree with me. And as I say, I'm 50-50 on it, but it's good.
So I know Wayne's a convert now. He's coming over to my side.
The funniest thing I've seen this year actually is you and Wayne having a discussion when we were sitting in the Pompey Pillage canteen, and you were like, "Paint is a side event, isn't it?" And it just was not happy with you. Yeah,
he virtually exploded, didn't he?
It's brilliant. But I love that. I suppose we better finish off on that. You do have a love for poking people, don't you, and winding people up online. But luckily, you're a nice guy in real life, although you tried to deny it. But
if you keep on saying things like that, I'm going to have to sue you for slander.
I've already had it done. You're fine. I might edit that. But is it just a nice pastime for you? Is it?
It breaks up the day.
Yeah. Do you think that's one of the good things about the community? The majority of people take it in good jest, or?
Well, they have to.
Yeah.
Or I'll poke them some more.
Oh, fair enough, yeah. You've got a certain dislike for ginger people, haven't you, and a few other things.
Well, who doesn't? Who right-minded person doesn't?
Fair enough.
They all smell of twiglets and wee. It's a medical fact.
Awesome. I think on that note, I'm going to leave it on twiglets and wee. So cheers for joining us, mate, and we'll speak to you again someone, I'm sure. So that's the end of all the interviews. Unfortunately, after the awards ceremony, I wasn't able to grab any of the winners and riders. Everybody was trying to shoot off, getting ready to go, and having a good old time. But hopefully, enjoyed what we did manage to get. So, a quick word on the results of the people that you heard talking in those interviews, just out of interest for you, as I know we didn't get time to speak to them. We're looking at Raphael Harbinson ended up finishing third, the Lisbon player we spoke to. We had Tom Maudsley with the High Elves. He ended up second with his list. And Mike Newman, who was talking to about the Dark Elves and the painting, he ended up first in the end, taking out the event. So congrats to all of those guys with podiums. That was good. Other notables, Andy, who we spoke to about his Lizardmen in the early interview, he finished 32nd in the end, which might not sound great out the field of 64. I mean, it's exactly halfway. But he actually only lost once. It's just an unfortunate thing of the way the system works on a 20-0 point. Sometimes that can happen. So, I mean, I only lost one game and I finished 17th, I think. So sometimes that's just the way it works out. Amit, who we spoke to, finished 43rd in 43rd place with his Crazy Warriors army. Sounded, looking at the results, it was a bit up, down, up, down. I think he was unlucky with draws. He got some quite tough opponents considering whereabouts he was playing at points. So there was a lot of people having sort of an off tournament. So it was good fun, I think, all round. So that was good. Other notables from the event, actually, we had 2 High Elves in the top 10, 2 Orc and Goblins in the top 10, and 2 Bretonnians. So massive congratulations to those Bretonnian players that got there. And this is a tournament with Watchtower. So say what you will, they must know what they're doing. So well done, guys, for getting there with that. That's excellent results. Now, my actual coverage of the games that I had and how I found things and vampires and everything else will either be on a Saucy show or we might even squeeze it into the next show. So we will get that because I'm conscious that I didn't actually mention how I did or any of my own experiences of the event. So that will be in there at some point. So until then, I hope you enjoyed the coverage so far. Okay then, Wayne, let's get on. Finally, our beardy weedy week. So what have you been up to?
Gluing together, prepping a Skaven army. But I decided that before I actually bought any models, I'd go through all my bits box and several boxes of plastic Skaven models that I thought, I wanted all the kind of the current stuff. I had loads of Island Blood clan rats. I had a load of Storm Vermin, and then I found like a Doomflayer, which I bought with the first release when it came out, and never really got around. I glued it together, never got around to painting it. So I've made, I think, how many have I made? About 80 clan rats I've cleaned up and put together and sanded and sprayed. 60 Storm Vermin. I've started painting those, the base colours. I actually decided to do all the base colours in one go.
I like that kind of stuff. That's why I was doing my Skaven. Yeah. I think it's good. Yeah,
I've made massive headway on it. But it is a bit soul destroying when you're doing that many.
If you're confident, I think it comes down to that if you're confident of the outcome, you don't mind. I did it at my Empire Halberdiers. I was painting 40 at once because I know when they're all done, they'll look good. Yeah. Because I've done a test unit of 10, and I thought, yeah, that's great. That's the look I'm looking for. Yeah. And then it gives you that confidence, doesn't it, to know that it's just paint by numbers, chill, just paint.
Well, I did that. I brought them around to show you, didn't I? I've done a 2-test Storm Vermin, and I was happy with the way they looked. It's quite for me, it's quite a muted colour scheme because I usually go quite bright, don't I? But it's quite. I didn't come up with the idea myself. I basically went through the uniforms and heraldry book for Skaven and looked at the clan Scryer, and there's quite a muted green. A lot of the uniforms on it is quite a muted green, where the banners and all, like obviously the wind globes and everything like that has got that kind of brighter green for the warpstone. And there's a green that War Games Foundry make, which is called Storm Green, and it's exactly the right colour. Yeah. So I've used that. So yeah, I'm happy with the 2. I did 2 Storm Vermin and a Clan Rat as testers. So now I'm just I'm getting on with that because I'm going to do the Scryer army, and I'm doing this army for gaming. It's literally I want to try and do well with the Skaven, because usually I just make builds that are fun. Blah, blah. I mean, I think this will be fun to play with, but I want to actually try and get a lot of games in. And next tournament I go to, actually want to try and compete properly.
Well, because we were talking about this on the last couple of things. You've actually been doing all right with what is effectively a junk army in terms of pure power, and you've been doing all right, haven't you?
Yeah, to be fair, I'm not really that down on the way I'm playing. I mean, there's Blood and Glory had a couple of really bad mismatches, but I mean, you always get that, regardless. But I'm thinking if I had a more balanced kind of tournament homed list that was kind of designed to take in a lot of eventualities into account, then I would have much.
Or give you an offer, a different play style. I think sometimes not a play style, but a plan B. Like football teams, they quite often, anybody who's into football or soccer or whatever you want to call it, that people get moaned at about. They've only got one way of playing, so it's like boot it up to the big forward or try and play through the middle. It's a bit like that, I think, sometimes with Warhammer armies, where if you've only got one plan, like your Skaven was very much kind of, you had a couple of tricks, but really it was you needed to get this Fellblade and this unit in to kill stuff, or it was very and deliver it, and that was it. There was no plan B of actually, if I can't do that because basically their unit is better than mine or more manoeuvrable and better, then I've got something I can sit back and do. You did a little bit because you had lightning cannons and stuff, but it wasn't enough, was it? And I think that's the key.
No, it was a lot of points going down one avenue, so you kind of you didn't really have the points to spend on other stuff to counter that.
I mean, don't get me wrong, Warriors don't have a plan B, do they, generally? Although you have got a Death Wizard who can do a bit of stuff if you're playing the net build with the level 4 Demon Prince, but they do it so well that you don't need it.
Yeah, that's the things. They do what they do so well that they generally don't need a plan B, because they do smash things off the table. But, I just want to... I'll be honest with you, I'd love to go to a tournament and just do... When we went to Blood and Glory, I think it was after Game 3, I was looking at the Skaven players. I was looking at the pack, and I think I was second in the. I'm not sure, but I think I was second in the. There was one Skaven player above me, and I thought, if the draws go my way, I could end up sort of best Skaven player. That's right. And I've never really thought about that before. I've jokingly, if you win it, or you think, oh great, but. I wanted to. That was a weird thing. That was quite a new experience for me. I actually wanted to be top Skaven player there. So,
it's quite an achievement if you've got a softer, not net list, but also if like Skaven were generally struggling at that event. So coming top of the rest of the Skaven means that it's still an achievement, isn't it? And that's what I like about best in race trophies. Yeah, that was my disappointment, is I lost out best Vamp, and because of that last game that was a non-game where I got hell-hearted, I never got the opportunity to do it. And if I'd won that game, I probably could have done. And that's the disappointing thing.
Yeah. Well, it's a competition within a competition. Isn't it? Because you think, you might be well off the pace and you've got no chance of competing.
But if everyone else is, then you're still in a competition. Yeah, that's why I quite like it. Yeah.
And there was some sort of, most of the Skaven builds there were all different.
Yeah, so it's good actually.
So I came away from the tournament thinking, do you know what, I actually want to go to tournaments and actually play properly, still have fun and still enjoy the games and all that, not turn into an idiot. But I actually want to try and compete. And you've been banging on for years, and to me, start taking proper lists. So yeah, I'm gonna give it a whirl.
Yeah, I mean, I don't think you need to change. I mean,
I want to create my own list.
Yeah, that's what I mean. I don't think you need a net build, but you need something that is decent.
I'm not taking net builds. I just don't. That's not me, right? I'm going to do my own build so that if it crashes, then it's down to me. But if it does well, then it's still down to me.
Yeah.
So that's the plan.
Well, I remember when the old 7th edition Demon book came in, there was a net list, but there was also quite a few other good lists of just MSU, some really off-the-wall lists I saw used over the years where someone would run a load of 10-man units or, and it was still pretty good, but you never saw it consistently enough. And the one that always plays in my mind is when I played on the 5th edition scene, when I first came into it, I was one of the only people using Wood Elves because they weren't really a thing, were they, back in 5th edition? No. And my army was just what I painted and played with, and it happened to be quite effective. I had, I think, the first couple of big ones I did. I had a Club Challenge, which was a big one back then, and I come 7th, I think, and I came 3rd at the WPS GT, and it was all, and my whole list was completely against the norm. Back then, it was all about like Warriors were good, wasn't it? It was all Heelanhammer and big things. Yeah. And my list was literally like 3 units of 10 archers, 2 units of 5 war dancers, a treeman, 2 level 1s, like 0 magic items except for like a scroll and a Hail of Doom arrow and a sky arrow that used to shoot things out of the sky. Yeah. And that was it. But it for whatever reason, it was a complete fluke, really. I didn't know what I was doing. I had them because I liked those models. I had banners on my archer units, which people always thought was weird, but I liked the extra combat res when little things charged me and stuff like that. Yeah. But it was probably not the most optimal thing. But I knew how to use it. I played a load of games, and as a result, that battle plan seemed to work. And I think anybody can do that coming into the game at the moment. And
I think that's
trying something.
You sort of hit the nail on the head, but you said it's the games. If you play a lot, and I found that when I have them kind of sort of short bursts where I do play a lot, I do kind of look at it, and I always, when I've had, say, I don't know, 10 games in a short space of time, I kind of look at it and think, yeah, I can actually play. Don't get me wrong, I'm not competing with the top guys, but I can play a bit.
Well, you're an experienced war gamer, aren't you?
Yeah.
Simple as that.
Well, yeah, but but then I'm always thinking, why am I running these lists? I'm always saying that they're fun, but actually, am I having fun with them? No, sometimes, because when you get the mismatch, I'm not having any fun with them.
No, you not at a tournament, and you're paying money as well to do that. So
yeah, exactly, and you can't deal with stuff. So it's kind of like I'm going to take a new approach to things. It definitely won't be the internet build. That'll be my build. I want to try and do it myself. And
it's quite a misconception that means changing something about how you play or anything else, but it's not, is it? It's just simply giving yourself a little bit of an extra chance with the list you're using.
It's evolving, isn't it? As a player,
changing priorities. You're just saying, well, I've painted this list to compete in painting. Now I fancy just to try me out a little bit of the game and see where I can push myself. Yeah. And there's nothing wrong with that.
The thing is, you can do both, can't you? 'Cause there's nothing stopping you doing a really, play to death a list, get it exact, get it so you know it inside out. Because most of the time, mistakes that I make is because I don't really appreciate my opponent's combination of things. So I get myself into situations, and suddenly I'm like, they'll pull out a combo on me, and I'll be like, I really should know that. I shouldn't have got myself into that situation, and I could have avoided it quite easily if I knew, that my opponent's army's better. Because with a lot of builds now, a lot of people take internet builds where you can pretty much guess at what they've got.
Especially
standard
with
stuff.
Yeah, especially with a few of the books.
And I still make those mistakes. So that's something I really need to sort of concentrate on it and start playing now to kind of drum it into myself. Play efficiently. I think that's probably the best way to put it. Because when you see the really good players, they always play efficiently. They always they don't really take risks when they don't need to. And if they do take risk, it's usually at a point in the game where it's kind of like it's really worth doing. Yeah. And it's just getting the balance really of having fun and playing competitively, I should say. Yeah.
Well, again, it just comes down to list choice, doesn't it? And there's nothing wrong with still playing those fun lists at the club. A lot of people like doing it. I see, again, using Jack Armstrong as an example, when I see him tweeting games, sometimes he's got quite quirky lists out because you don't need to play the skink horde of doom at your local club, do you? Once you're aware of how to play it, you can do that somewhere else. And you're right, you don't necessarily have to separate the two between painting and gaming. I mean, that army I won a lot of events within, and a lot of podiums and a few events in 2009, I think it was, with those lizards. I also won probably won more painting trophies than I did gaming trophies in that year. Yeah, but it was the same
had a
army.
Really good year that year, didn't you?
Yeah, and it was the same army. I just played a lot of games of it and tweaked with the army as it went. So you don't have to separate the two. You can. You can.
No, you're right, and that's the problem. See, that's what I've always done. I've always had this thing where I kind of think, I need to compete in painting and look at it as a completely separate thing. That's a bit silly, really, because you can do both.
Yeah, of course you can.
And there's plenty of people that
you just be clever with what you're doing. Yeah,
absolutely. So you can still make any army, even if it's the internet build, you can still make it look fantastic if you put enough time and effort into it.
Yeah.
So for me to think that was a bit, I don't know. I don't really. Kind of pennies drops only take 20 years, but
Well, let's talk about one model that somebody said they were disappointed. We started to mention last week, and then because the show rolled on, we forgot. They didn't quite get there at the end. But you painted a demon prince, didn't you, recently? You power gamer, you.
I did. Yeah,
and there's a good example. You were quite pleased with that. A lot of love on Twitter for this demon prince you converted out of a million different bits, and that's a super powerful net list model, isn't it, basically, at the moment?
Yeah, and I've got that net list army.
Yeah.
I've got it all built, and a lot of it's painted now. And that's part of the reason I don't want to play it. Because I've seen some guys down the club using warriors, and they literally smashing their opponents in 3 turns. And also, I'm like, let's just say, I'm not saying this would happen for a second, but let's just, humour me, right? Let's just say, for example, I go to a tournament and I win 5 out of 6 games with warriors. Yeah. No one is going to turn around to me and say, "Oh, you're a pretty good player."
You're right, aren't you? Yeah.
They're not going to say that. They're going to go, "Look, that's how broken warriors are."
Yeah.
Even Wayne's doing well with them. You know what I mean? That's the reaction, and I'd expect that.
Yeah.
So straight away, I just stopped painting them because I thought, no, I want to do my own
I
thing.
actually think that's the biggest thing that will make warriors go away on the scene is that a lot of people will move on because of the hate. I know superstar player Russ Veal, who's been on the show multiple times and lives up in our saucy section. I think he finds out with armies. He tends to move on if there's too much sort of stigma attached to a certain army, and I get that. I'd be the same if people were moaning about my army that I was playing, because it kind of devalues the people that are doing well. Because at the end of the day, warriors still do require a lot of skill, the same as ogres did, to win. It's just that people haven't adapted and to the type of armies.
I think
some
warriors
armies just have a hard time.
I think warriors they need the skill when you're playing against other good players, because the other good players will know what to do and how to do it.
Yeah,
I think when you're playing against average players, I don't think you do need a lot of skill.
No, there's certainly a level up in places where and I think ogres had that effect when it came out, and then the books that got released after sort of sorted that out of it. But interesting. I love that whole. I mean, we use this metagame word quite a lot, but I do love that about Warhammer. It's an ever evolving thing, and if you're sticking around one race, it gives you something to do, doesn't it? You think, oh, how can I deal with this? Well, let's try this. Let's do this. Or like you say, Skaven, let's reinvent what we're doing. Okay, we'll scrap that. We'll do this. And I think there's a place for that. And I look at Lizardmen now, and a lot of Lizardmen generals chatting about, will this work? Will that work? But I think you probably just have to mix it up a little bit if you want to do well all the time. You just play it, see what works for you, and there'll be something there. Same with High Elves. I'm convinced there's a better High Elf build out there than people are saying. But it will take a lot of play to make it work. So yeah, interesting times in the Warhammer world at the moment. So yeah, I mean, so you've been painting the Demon Prince, and then you jack that in, and you've been painting your Skaven, and it's all good. Yeah. So when's that going to hit the tables? Anyone seen?
I'm probably going to try and get it ready for. I want to take it to America next year. And I'll probably the first out, and depending on how many points I get done, will be Whoops next year.
Yeah,
because usually I traditionally, whenever I've had a new army, it's always the first tournament I've played at has been Whoops.
If it runs, of course.
Yeah, it's going ahead next year.
Oh, is it?
Yeah, it's definitely going ahead next year. So hopefully I'll get it ready for then.
Brilliant.
It's kind of weird when you say, it's not weird, but when you're kind of trying to do a nice army, it's amazing how long it takes, from sticking models together to actually looking at what point you've got enough models to play, enough points to play with. And the time that it takes to get to that point when you're trying to do a nice army. It's just, but I'm going to do it differently this time. Usually what I do is I do a lot of converted stuff, and then I put all the troops around the units. I'm doing the other way around. I'm basically painting loads and loads of standard troops. And then once I've done the units as such, then I'm going to start working on the unit fillers and all that kind of stuff. The steam tank that I did that's split in half with like the warp cannon, all the cracked core, whatever. And I'm going to put that in the Storm Vermin unit and stuff like that. But they won't be painted. Any unit fillers won't be painted to the end. So everything else is done.
So you got the fun stuff to go. Yeah, that's the best way.
Absolutely. Yeah. So once I've sort of trawled through the bulk stuff, the stuff that is, does take the time. Then I could now kind of have some real fun with just like creating lots of quirky stuff to go with it.
Yeah.
So I think with the Scryer theme, I want like rattling guns moving through the units, and just some weird kind of experimental stuff that looks, just teams of like make weapons teams up that aren't even in the game, but just in units, and just make it all quirky. And then I want to make some scenery to go with it, so like a Warlock's tower and warp lightning generators and all that kind of stuff.
Yeah, that'd be quite cool.
Really cool. And then if I can get that ready I'll get all that done for Blood and Glory next year. Then obviously I've got all that ready for there.
Yeah,
so
definitely.
That's kind of a tournament where that stuff's appreciated.
Yeah, it sounds like a good plan. It does sound like a good plan. I think that's the way forward. I mean, for me, I've just been concentrating a little bit on my vampires. I've got I need some zombie razor balls. I need some more zombies, and ultimately, I'm doing an event in November, 30th of November, 1st of December. They use a Swedish comp, my first one, and the composition pack requires massive changes to the list I'm using. So I've probably got to paint quite a bit for that. But that's good. It gets me using something else, forcing me to paint something for the vampires. So at the moment, I'm sort of sticking with those. I do want to get my lizards out and play a bit more lizards, but again, I want to sort of do some painting for that. And at the moment, life's so busy that I just haven't had much of a time. I seem to either be podcasting or playing or working. So painting's taken a bit of a back step, but I'm looking forward to just adding a bit to these VCs. It's quite nice just to have an army that I know I can. It's all magnetised, it's all in a box. It's only one build though, that's the only problem, and I can get out and play it. That was the thing with Tribute. I submitted my list based on what models I had, which is never the best way if you want to compete, but it's good fun. I enjoy using it at the moment. I think the Vampire book's got quite a lot of different builds you can use, and I quite like that stage at the moment where you got that excitement of playing again. I've always got the excitement of playing, but the excitement of playing something that you're not very good with. So, and I love that whole. It don't get me wrong; it's disappointing when you look at the end of it and you think I didn't do very well there. But I love that learning bit where you're like, yeah, but if I'd done this, it would have been amazing. When it's all going to come together and you've got that experience level when you can turn up to the table and go, I'm going to smash you. I love that, like that progression, that journey through the game. And so that's good. So I'm enjoying that. It's all good times.
Never experienced that. So
no.
I'll take your word for it.
Yeah. Well, the problem is you need to do constant events. That's the thing. You need to be playing events. I mean, listeners to the show will notice we've done a lot of event coverage. We had ETC, then we had Blood and Glory, with Tribute, and then there'll be this Bjorn one, and then there'll be a rest, and then we're into Jan, and it's back again. It's, you got Sheffield Slaughter, you've got probably Mersey Meltdown. There might be a Masters in there, not for me probably this year, and all these events coming up, and then we're into Adepticon and South Coast GT type time. So there's so many events, they're all back to back. If you can get to them, your play improves, and all that time you're developing your list, developing your army, and also hopefully adding to it if you're having to paint for new comp systems. So I love it. It's a good thing to be in. What you have to, I think, step aside from, though, is the arms race. Myself and Russ Field talk about this quite a lot. If you really want to, if all you care about is winning events, it's an arms race. It's an arms race to be painting the newest thing, to have the newest thing, know what the best thing to take is from that newest book, and have that edge all the time.
Yeah.
But you just get burnt out very, very quickly worrying about it, I think, unless you've got a ton of times on your hand. If you're a student or you work in the game, you're a studio painter, or even a studio painter probably hasn't got a lot of time to do this kind of stuff.
See, that would be perfect for me, wouldn't it? Because I get so much time to paint. I could do that.
Yeah.
I'm not going to,
No.
but I could do if I wanted to, easily.
Yeah. Well, yeah, I mean, if you could attend a tournament a month, you'd be destroying it, I would have thought, because you'd have the latest filth. You just have to, game a
Learn
week.
how to play.
Yeah, well, you think a new book comes out and you go, okay, well, it gives me 4 weeks to figure out a build, play, do this.
Yeah.
And, it wouldn't take you long. You've got a lot of people surrounding you that know how to play. So it's...
it's just practicing it.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah.
So, loads of stuff. So, enjoying the journey, but ultimately, have I got a lot to report to the listeners on what I'm doing? No. We've got some zombies in front of us that I'm going to literally spray to and dry brush and sort of dip and stuff ready to be razor balls, because they're not on the table very long, to be replaced maybe possibly someone at a later date, but you can never have too many zombies. I'm thinking of running a 200 zombie core at the moment, so you can never have too many. So, that's been that. So, that's our weeks, Wayne. Any other parting thoughts before we leave the listeners?
No.
No. Okay. Well then, in which case, a couple of things I want to cover. This will be the final announcement for this, because by the time the next show comes out, it basically will happen. It's a 48-hour Warhammer Fantasy Marathon for charity, the Battle of Sophia. It's October the 25th to the 27th. It's a group of friends who are putting on a demo game marathon in aid of a local charity. It's Sophia's Stepping Stones. It's helping a local family raise money for an important op for their daughter. www.justgiving.com/Sophia's-stepping-stones. It's not open to the public, but you'll be able to see live webcasting and tweeting all weekend, and viewers can drop by on there and see how it's going. They're going to be playing, taking shifts, and they've got lots of different armies and things. So if you're into that, please donate and help for a good cause. It's not very often wargamers get to do something charitable kind of like that. I know we sometimes raise money at tournaments with pools and that, but this is a real effort to do something. So check that out, and you can see the progress of the armies, the gaming table, and the rules and everything at http://Innsmouth Gaming Club. So that's INNSMOUTH gamingclub.wordpress.com. Check that out. On another note, that's nowhere near as a good cause as this, but it is a charitable type thing, is our Adepticon fund. Thanks very much for everybody that's donated so far. We've been in a position to be able to book the hotel, so I'm going to be contacting and sorting that out shortly. We are definitely going. We have a massive shortfall of funding to find in terms of helping the financial burden for this one. So please, if you can donate anything, go to our site. You'll see the Adepticon button there. Please click donate. Be gratefully received. We've still got plenty of things that we can do for you in terms of show topics. Wayne still hasn't got a partner for the doubles event, the team event, so help us there in any way you can. He's definitely keen to get on somewhere.
Doubles is my thing.
Doubles is his thing. He's got more wins than most people I know on doubles, so there you go. He's all about the doubles, so check that out. And of course, it wouldn't be Heelanhammer without talking about odd games. For all your hobby needs, when you've just had that hardcore tournament and you want to unwind at the end of it, or whether you just want another night in the week, if you're really blessed and you can play Warhammer on one night and a games night on the other for random games, especially board games, these are the people to go for. So beer and pretzel type games, they're brilliant. It's about 15%, and you can take a massive range of games. You're looking at 30 minutes to 3 hours to play, different people. Magic the Gathering's a massive thing there. They've got some of the best prices on the net. If you need hobby stuff for not just the board games, if you need paints and brushes, the full army painter range, Vallejo, Winsor Newton brushes, Revel plastic glue, which is just the best thing in the world. I love it. Magnets that perfectly fit into Games Workshop bases, all that kind of stuff. Make sure you go on there, www.oddgames.com. And for October, you're looking for the code Heelantober. So that's HEELANTOBER, and that gets you an additional 5% when you spend £35 or more. Finally, we should mention that we want to say thanks to all those people dropping us iTunes reviews. They're a big part of keeping us up the charts. People may think, oh, well, everybody knows about Warhammer Podcast, but there's so many player base out there that just doesn't know, and many of them search it through iTunes. So please, if you do listen to us, just pop on there. It takes 5 minutes. Drop us a 5-star review if you love us. If you don't, well, unlucky. but we'd like you to drop us a review if you like the show. That'd be great. As always, make sure you sign up to our forum and support us in any way you can with regards to letting people know about the show. I say and finally, but there's one more final point, and that is our Saucy section. It's premium content of the section of the forum. You can get it. It's £18 for membership for the whole year, and it gives you access to a load of extra shows. It's about 2 shows a month that go on there. The last one was a 2-hour session with Russ Field talking about who's one of the UK's best players. Talking about demons. He's been to 3 tournaments recently and got 1st and 2 seconds with demons, so really knows his stuff. And he talks not only about demons but just about how to be better at Warhammer and a few other things. We talk a wide range of topics on that one. And there's also a load of guides. You've got the entire show archive going back to the beginning on there, and there's some exciting new things in the mix at the moment with this that are going to be announced over the next few months as well, with regards to being able to, if you're, no matter what race you're interested in, there's going to be something for you on there. But a little tidbit for you, but there's going to be more stuff arriving over the few months. Brilliant. That's it really. Thanks again for joining us, and we'll see you next time.
Bye bye.